So I need to log into
I'll be here. I
chat.
can listen to you talk about me, but I'm walking 4 feet that way to go smoke, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
That was for Alyssa. I know you guys would.
So, Alyssa, I was able to make up a quickie ad for you there, so I will run that in this.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
No problem. Sound check out there. You guys hear us? Val, Gitano, just let me know. Awesome.
Okay, good.
That's a good
Yep.
thing.
Gaetano is here. Awesome, and Valfred too. Perfect. Thank you.
I'm gonna skip tonight,
Awesome.
Reaper and
Bunch of
Stratagem, because Stratagems give away tomorrow night. So, thanks, Rox. Good to see you too. Start get cranking up here.
Yep.
So. Yes, it's good. Everyone's on, and Steven's on. The whole crew's here, so we're starting to get viewers in, which is a good thing. So let's show some Infinite Dimensions game stuff real quick here. We'll be in discussion at 8 with the wonderful sponsors. Yeah, an echo from Zach. Okay, Val. Is that? Thank you.
I got a headset. That's
Yeah. You may want to go with that if you get in a little. Yeah. All right. Cool. That's why I have it. Somehow Steven never has. Steven, what happened last night with your brother? He needs a mic. Is that it? Oh, can't hear you.
There we go. We sent him a mic, but it's in the post office box. He just hadn't gotten it yet.
Stephen, hold that mic up. I just saw you drag it forward. That looks like a monster. Okay,
Wow,
okay.
yeah.
No,
Is
that's
it a
not
Blue
too bad.
Yeti or is it a?
It's a blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, that Chuck got it from me. It's a blue something.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a nice one, man.
Awesome.
is that
It
better?
sounds good. Yep.
Is that better for you guys?
Yeah, that's
Oh
perfect.
yes, that's
great.
perfect.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're welcome. That's why I keep it all handy.
Awesome.
I hate my Blue Yeti mic.
I'm using J-Talk now on my table, and it works really well. It's got directional area sound, because my guys are walking all around the whole time we're playing. We're not sitting still, so I need area. It works.
Well, I'm senior enough at most meetings I don't care if they hear an echo from me.
Oh, that's
I act tough. I probably get all upset if they complained. I'm gonna keep acting tough because we're live.
big screen art, darn. Oh my gosh, that's pretty amazing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
The big screen in Australia. Hey, Michael Zudrak is on there. Good, Michael. Good to see you, man.
I know him.
Yeah, he lives. He literally lives 5 minutes from me. 5-10 minutes from me.
He's one of those people I was talking about that if he could complain about echoes on my stream and he wouldn't say anything because I'm a senior to him.
Michael's
He's a great guy.
Yeah, Michael is a great guy. Great family too. Just some Gamescape 3D showing up here. Getting 3D. The world of the 3D print is really coming along. It really has enhanced our table.
Alyssa, I love how you rename yourself. It's awesome.
And I'm going to cut
You
this
got
one
more
short. and we're
Olaf
gonna
than
go-
I can find on my Swedish keyboard in there. That's awesome.
There you go, Alyssa.
Oh, thank you. Thank
No
you.
problem. So, Alyssa's got a Humble Bundle running right now. Is that a frog god? Humble
It's a frog bundle, and apparently starting to be, but yeah, it's more maps that you can shake a stick at for a low price.
Wow.
Yes.
Yep.
So we wanted to put that up. And I got a really cool, and I bet you Steve goes, where the hell did you get that from? In a second here. So I got something, one more coming up.
Is it Blondie? Because I know if Steve likes it, it's Blondie.
I do like
No,
that
but Steven
one.
will like this. I guarantee you Steven's gonna like this one. So I'm gonna hit listen. Oh please, I was gonna say shout out to please word. Yeah. So there's the link for that humble bundle. Okay. Please check it out, and then let's go to what I have up for the Troll Words shout out now. Maybe like words. Here we go.
Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, the warden.
Yep.
I was like, Chuck, I saw it on YouTube. I was like, Chuck, will you get me that vid?
That thing is huge. It is a monstrous book.
650 some pages, man.
Oh wow.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
book, though.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you, Big Mac.
Hello, David. And you raided in. Wow. You made a personal raid in. One man raid. Yep.
Hey, Patrick, good to see you tonight.
Lord have mercy.
And wherever he got the music from on this, Steven, it didn't bang me on any copyrights on YouTube or Twitch, which was good. So.
Well, that's good. Davis put that together. I don't know where he got it, so.
I was like, so far, so good. I was
Yep.
like, that was the only thing I was worried about, but I was going to sub my own music in, but it didn't have to on that. So.
A couple of the ones he did, the music is just atrocious. It is just symbols. It's just too much. I mean, it's just lots of clanging and banging.
We're getting too old.
That might be some proof to that.
Yep.
A lot of noise.
Yep.
All these kids and their toys. Though I will say, about 6 months ago, I got my receiver and turntable working again. I kind of abandoned listening to music on YouTube, and I had the kids come down, all three of them, that range from college to middle school or high school. And I cranked it up like you can only do on some big speakers. They were quite stunned by the volume.
I bet they're mystified. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, we used to spend a lot of money on this stuff, man.
Oh yeah, and it's better sound. I'm sure you get good small speakers, but man, the sound was good.
Yeah.
Stereo.
But they look cool. That was the point. And they cost a lot of money, so you can show them off.
Good stuff. You can put your Dr. Pepper on them too, next to the bed.
That's right. I
Yep.
can picture yours right now, shaking right there, right next to my glass, right?
Yeah.
The world was good.
No, the
Yeah.
world was good. I do VR racquetball. I do it to Atomic and what's the other big one? The one that
Glasses.
we mixed up. I have music on my own personal soundtrack. I think of you when I win.
That's good. Blondie does it. She's the perfect musician. I think
We're
she's
old,
had,
Steve. Steve, we're old people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think we made it. Let me tell you, my youngest
Hey,
son,
Mike.
is 15, and we are old. We're just old. Anytime he's talking about it.
Yeah.
We're in a different millennium. So it's,
Yeah, we kind of born in the last halfway through the last millennia. It's like
Well, turntables are cool again. That's how you know we're old.
yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
they were so uncool when we were young. Now they're cool again.
Yep.
And it's like, oh man, life's a big circle. The Lion King was right.
dude, I saw some girl skateboarding in bell bottoms the other day. I thought, really, the bell bottoms come back?
Wow.
There you
Well,
go.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
crazy.
they're back for a second time again, so to speak.
Oh,
Yeah.
number
The
round
80s
two.
are coming back now again, and people think it's
Yeah.
cool, and back then you never thought it was cool. Something you had to suffer through. Yeah.
Hopefully everyone is excited about this discussion as much as we are here. So, I gotta send out some reminders to some people, like Josh, who's not on yet. What are you doing? Josh Bob.
You have proper lights. I have Christmas lights.
Hey
now,
Megan,
so-
good to see you.
Yeah. I have a small Christmas tree and Christmas lights around my monitors.
Right
That's
on
my
the
Christmas
nose.
decorations.
That's very festive.
Yep.
That's the way to do it.
I have empty
Yep.
Rebel cans, cigarettes, and dice.
What's up, Bill? Still a master crafter, everyone.
I wish that wasn't true.
Of course, now I can't find his shit. I got like,
Uh-oh.
I got so many freaking shout outs on this stupid stream deck here. All right, coming
Yeah.
live. Coming live. Good evening, everyone. 7th episode of the Fantasy Mapping Show. It's been 7 months already, Anna and Alyssa. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Nuts. But the first one, since we got that silly little check mark in here, so hey, thank you so very much for all the support, everyone. I'm so excited to have, though, Zach Glazar. Did I say that right? Close
Glazer.
Glazer. See,
close.
Alyssa told me
No,
the wrong
Alyssa. Yeah,
pronunciation,
don't blame
so I can
me.
blame her. Glazer.
No, in my whole life, no one's ever said it correctly, and I'm not even sure I say it right, so it's no big deal.
Welcome.
Good to know. Good to know. And Stephen Chenault, Trollord Games. So thank you both for coming on this discussion. And the topic tonight from the Fantasy Mapping Show is Publisher's Perspective. So first things first, just give us a little feedback. What do you think we'll be discussing tonight? Like, what's the tricks of the trade here, as Stephen always says, with mapping relates to your companies. And while they're doing that, I am going to set these giveaways up, which we'll do around 9:30 because we have 30 of them tonight between the two companies. Isn't this crazy? 30 giveaways.
Yep.
So.
Zach, you spread them out through the show. Yep.
Well, I wish I could, but that'll be disruptive. So let's just do it at
okay.
the end. Yeah,
Yep.
it's so much easier to do at the end.
Yep.
So, Zach, why don't you take that for us if you can on.
Publishing for what do I think we're going to cover?
Yeah, and a little
lots
bit
of-
about Frog God, please, because this is the
Yeah.
first time we've had a Frog God
Yeah, you
person
have to.
on the stream ever. So please, yeah.
I'm Zach Glazer. I'm the COO, and I'm the second largest shareholder at Frog God Games. Bill Webb founded Necromancer Games way back with Steve Chenault. They'll both remember each other way back, 2000?
Oh yeah.
Right around then, and they both were founding their company at the same time. So we've been around a long time. My personal background is like 2013. I did a Kickstarter for the box set because I was dumb, and I learned a whole lot about everything. That's where I met Alyssa. But since then, I've been working in tabletop gaming, and I do it full time now. And Frog God Games, we have a catalog of over 450 titles. We do books for right now 5e and OSR game called Swords of Wizardry. I personally oversee the purchasing of at least 20 to 25 maps a month, usually. I don't draw them at all, not even close, but I oversee the ordering of them. I oversee how to make sure they fit in where we're going to fit them in the books, to make sure they work in the publishing parts, and to make sure that we're getting what it is we're looking for. And we look for lots of different things. We hire different kinds of cartographers and different kinds of people for different parts of it. And so I think that's what I'm here to kind of talk about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot lately, including one of my old classic favorites in reprint. Right? Tyco Manor.
Oh yeah, there you go.
One of the
Oh, yeah.
ancient Judges Guild, that and Dark Tower, were the two that were so wonderful. But thank you for coming here tonight and coming on and being so generous in the giveaways. And I know,
thanks for having me. I've never been on a Twitch partnered show before.
Really?
I'm being elevated.
Yes.
Well, after 3.5 years there, Zach, it's like a weight off my chest. Anna will tell you.
I bet it is. No, congratulations.
Thank you.
If you told me 3.5 years ago that your ambition was probably, no one would have believed you. Congratulations, though. This is a big deal. I'd love to see fantasy gaming like this, especially the parts that I'm interested in, be elevated like that, because it means that we're here, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. The old, and both with Castles and Crusades and Swords and Wizardry, the old school is well represented here on my channel. Being a 1E2E streamer and having a lot of the community here is rife with Greyhawk, but they want content, and that's why both your companies are so fantastic. So thank you very much, Steven. Second, I think.
Hello.
Yes, you were on. Last time I think I had you on was the DM's Roundtable at GaryCon last year. Well, this year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, and congratulations on partnership.
Thank you very
cool.
much. Thank you very much, Chuck. If it wasn't for Chuck, I would never be here. I'm kidding.
well, we'll thank Chuck, I suppose.
Just kidding. Chuck's been great. Chuck's been a great partner,
Yeah,
and you've been
he's
wonderful,
always
Chuck.
lecturing me about this, that, and the other. So that's good. Dragging me into the modern age, I suppose, with the fancy mic and the cameras and all that. So there you go.
Yeah, it's so a little bit about Troll Lord Games, please.
So my name is Steven Schnault. I'm CEO of Troll Lord Games. We, much like Zach said, we were founded back in '99 and debuted at Gen Con 2000. Bill Webb was there, a whole bunch of other publishers, and I think there's not many that are still around from that era. I think just a handful of us. Bill's company, Frog God and Goodman, a couple others here and there. But we've been continually publishing for, 21 years now or some such. We published Gary Gygax for about 8 years. And in the interim of that, we did D20. And then we started releasing Castles and Crusades in 2004, 2005. And that's been our flagship product for the better part of 15 years. We just released the 8th printing of the Player's Handbook, which has been selling like madness out there. And for us, maps obviously play a critical part in what we do because we do a lot of adventures, but we're kind of top heavy on source books. We do a lot of mythology stuff, just general world books, settings, and things like that. So we have a lot of that, in the stable, and the maps that we have in there are a little bit different. Now, that said, they're mostly area maps. Like we've got the Codex, the Codex Keltarum, which has got ancient England, this type of stuff, or even a mythological England, I think is what it is. But we do a whole lot of maps for the adventures that we have out. I think we got about 140 adventures out there, something I can't remember. We kind of rotate them through, so quite a few. And we've gone through a long series of different styles of maps to the point that if you look, it's kind of it's a scatter shot. Some of the series that have taken us 5, 6, 7 years to get out, the earlier ones have one specific style, and the latter ones have a very different style. It's very frustrating on our end, and Chuck and I are working pretty hard to get that fixed. So maps play a pretty huge role in everything we do.
Well, I think that actually, just to jump onto that bandwagon, is that one of the things that shows is how important and what a growth fantasy cartography has as an art form, and how we all treat it in our books. It used to be it was utilitarian, like here's your dungeon, here's your numbers, and now it's integral part of how the book looks. And that just goes to show with how much work has gone into cartography by the cartographers themselves and having the tools available, and it makes it all better. It does. So I think that what he said is absolutely right. You wouldn't even recognize the maps that we got back in 2002, 2006 to 2010 versus what we get now. And what we're starting to ask for is even more. So that's because we're those kind of people.
It's interesting for Troll Lord because we've kind of gone this strange, and it's largely due to my schizophrenic approach to things at times, because I like something now and then later I like something different. If you look at the earlier maps of Troll Lord, Davis, my brother, and Mac Golden, they drew them all. And so you'll see like a forest, you'll see the trees, and they just drew all of it. And then we went to a slightly more technical, and then it got really just technical. It kind of reminded me of the stuff we played with AD&D back in the 80s with the blue maps, the detachable covers. And now we've kind of gone full circle because, and Alyssa is to blame for this quite a bit, because when she did the maps in the CKG, they were so beautiful. I thought, no, that's what I want. So I'm just all over the board. I gotta get stick to the straight and narrow, I suppose.
No, we changed our art ordering in our most recent book that's coming out, Necropolis, that we just finished and sent to the publishers, the printer to get printed. And
that's a great
we changed our art order based on how good the map was. We saw the map in progress, and so we changed the way we were going to present the book because the map was so beautiful. We were able to use parts of it like as zoom-ins and stuff because she had done such a great job. That's the kind of thing that we would never have done even 4 or 5 years ago, I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
It's kind of interesting that being on the creative end of doing maps for publishers, it's interesting. A lot of publishers, they seem to have only seen cartography as a piece of art that needed to fit in on a piece of paper, just like a character portrait or some little description somewhere. And now my view, I've always tried to say, look at maps more like a rule system. it's a big investment that you use over a whole bunch of products, so to speak, especially not so much adventure maps. They live with that little location. But when it comes to setting maps and to describe your world and stuff, then you publishers should kind of look at that more like an underpinning technology that can span a whole range of products, so to speak, and not just one illustration in one book and then start from the drawing board all over again. But it's tricky because these are heavy investment, and money is only part of it. I think that a lot of publishers probably have the time constraint, meaning when you work on a cartography project, a year can pass quickly, so to speak. And right. That was one of the things, meaning what are the main constraints? Money is an obvious one. Things have to be produced on a budget, but I think time often seems to be even bigger hurdle at times to get it done in time to fit a project.
Oh, that has a huge part to do with it. That's one of the things I think that it's difficult for a lot of people to get a handle on, is all of these aspects of publishing, from the writing to the editing to the cartography to the art to the layout, all of it. It takes a lot more time than I never budget enough time, ever. I've been doing it for 21 years and I still I never budget enough time to get a book done. Zach knows what I'm talking about.
I do, because my CEO is the same era as you. And the thing is that in publishing, you live, in order to pay the people you like that you work with so you can keep doing it, you have to do it at a clip that is reasonable so you can keep doing that. I mean, we made a big push during the pandemic stuff to make sure we could pay everybody, because we cared a lot about the people we work for. So you have obligations to people, and you have schedules you have to meet for your distributors and all kinds of constraints. But then all you want is another 2 weeks. If you just had 2 more weeks, everything would be that much better. And you never have that 2 weeks. And if you had that 2 weeks, you would just need 2 weeks more, because there's so much you can do. And there's no other publishing like this, but kind of like textbooks, because we have so many components that could become part of making a great RPG book you don't have when you publish fiction, which fiction is great and it has its own constraints I don't understand, thank God. But we have so many components from talented people that come from everywhere, and putting them all together in a time frame is beyond my ability, but I try really hard. I work the best I can.
and one other thing that seems to be at least the problem that I think must be a problem it's a problem for me creating maps, but I also think it's a problem from a publisher's perspective. That is that if you change one line saying that, oh, we need to describe this landscape a little bit different, some author just invents a lake somewhere or mountain chain or a river going through a city, and all of a sudden things that have worked on for 6 months we need to go back on the drawing board on that one. These things can be tricky to control for, so to speak, because someone's to think, oh, we need a river for the story here or something, and they don't realize that is no one forgot to tell me, and that might have been introduced later. So there is a lot of things that can go wrong in the chain of information being conveyed over the time, so to speak, because we have to start working on using sketches and basically sometimes just raw ideas, because the text and stuff is not being written often. When I start working on a project, that's when I have a little napkin sketch and someone's idea and we start working on it. Then the writers and
because writers know all about geography. Like rivers totally run that
exactly.
direction. They don't zigzag anywhere.
A lot of meaning they have no sense whatsoever. Some of them for geography, because it's not part of what they normally deal with.
And we don't ask them to do that. What we ask them at Frog God is that I tell writers early on, your descriptions, maps, and art are going to override your writing, because I flat out. A paragraph of writing costs me so much less than an hour of anybody's time that's an artist.
That is a very good, I love that approach.
Well, I know you guys would love that. They hate it. And I don't blame them, but the truth of the matter is that those components matter, and it matters that they make sense and they have synergy. And so when we get new writers, I often will tell them that the only kind of rewrites we're going to ask you for are ones to match the art and the maps, because things do change. And artists are very similar to cartographers in ways that you wouldn't expect, but they are, because you're asking for the same kind of thing to bring your adventure to life. It's not a component in the game, except that you show it to people. How do you players visualize something? Are there handouts or keys? Maps are just the same way.
They become part of the reference material for it.
So real quick, we had an 800% of a level 5 height train just now Thanks to
Wow.
Blue Box, who did a crazy 30,000 cheer. So thank you, John, very much, and thank you for all the support, and thank you for all the subs. That was fantastic. Note the following: I have started the giveaway process. Type in !drawing to get into it. 9:30 Eastern. We got like 30 things to give away tonight. It's a record by far. Okay, so just know that we may be here a while, but that'll be the fun part afterwards. So just please sit tight. And there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful things on here. That from both.
That's why you invite publishers on, because I could pay you in books all month.
Hey,
I mean, I didn't say that out loud. What I meant was,
I know how to bully pulpit the sponsors, right? And Alyssa does too, obviously, right? So there you go. So but we really appreciate it, and I think that it's a community here, and that's the whole point: is growing the community for everyone. There's room for every company and every streamer and every person's ideas here, and that's the whole point of what we're attempting to do here. And it's a holiday season, so we're throwing out some holiday cheer. So I want to ask the first question, if that's okay. How do each of you decide to work with a map maker?
Steve?
Well, it kind of depends on what project I'm working with. We have Peter Bradley has worked with me. He's the fellow who did this map you see on the wall behind me.
Okay.
He's been our art director and main artist since 2004, 2003, something like that. So he's been with me forever. So Peter is usually my first go-to. About 5 years ago, the schedule was picking up enough, however, for a variety of reasons, that I needed to branch out. I needed Peter to focus more on doing cover art and interior art, and he does a little bit of layout too, as opposed to the cartography. So we began to kind of search out, to look out, and that's where I started running into problems, trying to find a style that I was happy with. In the interim, Peter made this kind of template, and that's where you'll see a lot of our maps from that era were pretty technical. I mean, they're not. He would do a little bit to it, but really, it's just something that he could kind of, brush it up and then get it in the module, and we could move on. And if I needed to make a change to it, he could change it really, really fast. And he's real good with doing kind of area maps, outdoor maps, world maps. He did like in the Codex Celtarum, he did the map of England and what have you. So he's real good at that stuff. But I had to start branching out, and we've at about that time, the VTT material is starting to pick up. So that made my approach even a little bit more difficult. And then World Anvil kind of rolled onto the scene. So now I've got to consider this. So now I've got multiple platforms, from usable PDFs that we experimented for the longest time, trying to make them very interactive, so that you could go. We only did this like in two books, where you could go to the room, click it, and it would take you to the map to where that map was. So whatever software we did that with was already outdated when we did it. I can't remember what that was.
It's tough.
Oh,
it's Adobe's fault.
Yeah, well, it was Adobe. I can't remember which piece of software it was.
The biggest problem you have is that whenever they change Acrobat Reader, everything breaks.
Yeah, PDF is fantastic in theory, but very difficult in practice. Yeah.
I've been wrestling with Adobe all week, so my InDesign and Photoshop have been giving me quite a bit of.
They love you.
Starts. But so when Chuck came on board about 3 years ago, I guess 2.5 years ago, something, and his big thing was VTT, and we had just been kind of poking at it just a little bit, and then Tim brought in the World Anvil stuff, so suddenly I had to sit down and figure out what I want to do with a map that can be print, VTT, in PDF, all of these platforms simultaneously, and it's not easy to do. And also to make it artistic, because that's kind of, especially after working with Alyssa a couple of years back on this Castle Keeper's Guide, I guess about 18 months ago, whatever that was, Alyssa, I can't remember. Time has no meaning to me anymore. A lifetime ago, my friend. Yeah. we have that project we're supposed to be working on.
Oh, we're doing that project. But
yes, it's great. It's a great one. But anyway, so when I worked with Alyssa, I thought, okay, this is what I want. But how are we going to actually bring this, into all of these platforms? So it has been, I would say, a very frustrating, and I know I've yelled at Chuck quite a bit, quite a few times in the last 18 months, finding a direction, because we've hired quite a few different cartographers to work in different, modes or whatever that's called. And I haven't, they're good. A lot of it's good, but a lot of it I can't use, or it prints too dark or whatever. So I think we have finally gotten through that, but it's been an interesting 5 years finding that direction, without a doubt.
Okay.
For us, our biggest challenge really is that we produce so much stuff. And part of the reason we produce so much stuff is because we want to sell it. And we have in our backlog, I mean, right now I can look at our schedule. And
Wait. We're supposed to be selling this stuff? What?
Well, maybe you don't want to. We do. No, but and planning this, and quite frankly, what we wound up doing for like VTTs and for the new things that all crept in the last 4 years. I mean, yes, I was playing on Roll20 7 years ago, but nobody was buying anything on Roll20 7 years ago. They were buying books to go play on Roll20, and they were very forgiving about what they played on there with. And Fantasy Grounds, Unity, they're not as forgiving, and we want people to use them because that's where people are playing now. I mean, it's like saying, well, these are great, but you have to have a table, right? Or, everybody had one of those.
Yeah.
But now we're learning and catching up. And I actually have a guy we hired just for this purpose, just like he hired Chuck. We have a guy that we hired named Sean that works with me to help say, okay, we need this for a VTT. We need this for a home VTT, because there's so many platforms. The very first question we almost always get on a Kickstarter: is this on VTT? Well, yes, it will be.
Yep.
Well, we support the Forge. We support this. I mean, ones I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty wired in. I mean, I live here. This is my space, right? And I can't keep up sometimes. And the thing is that in order to do all that, I have to have somebody who focuses on that. And then we discuss map purchasing based on that. And what Steve said is so true. Across the board, where this map will work. And what's been wound up happening is we wound up getting one map with versions that are created, and we try to ask for those in advance. We're like, okay, we need this map. We're going to need it in black and white. So if we can get a layer that's just a black and white sketch parts, we can do a handout. Then we're going to need a layer that we make sure that we get them for player maps. And then now what we wind up getting from because we have cartographers who love us and we don't deserve the love we get the PSD files. And like Robert Altbauer, who does a lot of our dungeon maps, he works for National Geographic, like in Germany or Austria, and he lets us resell them if we want to, but we don't. We use them to create the player maps, and if we had changes, he did this probably to save himself. Hey, honestly, we have a change. There's a problem. This room number is the wrong number. Well, guess who has to do it now? Not Robert. And that's the only way we can keep up and make sure we can do it without making sure every cartographer in the world won't quit. And so that's been very good to us.
Okay, so you're making edits in Photoshop yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is something
with my maps, though. I'm just going to point that out.
No, with your maps. So
now I've heard that. You said that live on air. You will be from now on.
No. So you don't understand.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about moving a number, I would have totally done on your map. But your maps, when they are 4 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes on a PSB, I'd never heard of a PSB file until Alyssa actually gave me one.
PSB files, but you start getting
file,
them,
it's too
linked
big to be
them.
a PSD, too big for a Photoshop regular. Alyssa hands me this file. My computer's an $8,000 Alienware. It groaned. It went as it slowly opened this
I'll
file.
send you a link that make it smoke. Yeah.
Because this lady over here has files way bigger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I believe that. I'm just telling you, as a layperson who loves maps but doesn't usually edit them. Alyssa asked, "Well, why is it you don't just do the edits for me?" Because I get maps from Robert Altbauer that are 500 megabytes. That's the difference.
I work with setting maps that are 80 gigabytes.
Because they aren't setting maps. When you have a dungeon map that's 8.5 by 11, it's okay. It's easier. When you have I don't know, how many inches wide is Tyco Manor, Alyssa?
Yeah.
How wide? Oh, the Teagle is, well, it's 12 feet by 12 feet.
Yes, it is. 12 feet by 12 feet. I printed it that size.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
we saw that picture.
Is,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have my boss laying on top of it. He's laying on top of
12 foot by 12 foot map.
Yeah.
Actually put him in. We actually surprised him to put him in there.
It's bigger than my gaming table.
Yeah. But I think it's
the idea. It's my largest map I've ever done. But then when other cartographers go, this is 3 feet by 3 feet, I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it is cute. Oh
my gosh. Wow.
No, but yeah, that's the difference. So we were able to do those things. Those have all been happening over like really the last 6 to 7 years. Because before ordering a map for an adventure was, hey man, I got a map. And then like I think it was Anna said, they're self-contained. They look like that adventure. But the problem is now when we produce a lot of things and they're in a series or they have relations to one another, you want them to kind of look like recognizable. And so that's why when we have like the Rahotep map from Necropolis or the world setting map we did for our setting or the map for Tyco Manor, we give people a year out. I mean, you have to give a centerpiece map that is the most important segment of that product is that you got to give it at least a year, or I don't think you're doing fair to anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think you strike a lot of really good points, and I think one of the thing is that if you want to start working in this field to be a cartographer for any RPG publisher, you need to understand all this stuff, and you need to also be able to work on specs, so to speak. And so if a publisher tells you that it needs to have this resolution and so on and so forth, and it needs to be on whatever VTT, you need to look through and have the layering, meaning you have to have the numbers on a separate layer and so on and so forth, and labeling and stuff like that. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes into this, and
don't trust the publisher to tell you that stuff, because we
exactly
won't.
that's
and we'll tell you wrong,
yeah,
and then we'll go ask for it to be changed halfway through, because that is what we do.
Yeah,
and if we didn't do that, we wouldn't make it fun for you.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because often you have to tell the publisher that these specs need to be changed for printing and whatever, and you need to take time and be prepped from the get-go. Start thinking, should this thing what you're working on be published in print form, meaning things like you need to understand things like color space, is a CMYK, it's an RGB, resolution, and bit depth and stuff like that. These
color
things,
profiles,
exactly, color profiles and stuff like that, and have a color corrected screen, and there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into this, that if you want to be a professional, you need to understand this stuff in order to, and it's your job, or my job in this case, to understand it even better than the publisher. So when they ask for something that might not be the best for them, you have to tell them that, no, we need to start thinking of this. And when publishers say they want to have it, and you have to ask them, do you want this project to be possible to print on a 36 by 24 or a 80 by 100 inch poster map?
No, and then 6 months later, yes.
Exactly. They don't come and tell you 2 months later that, oh, now you need we need this as well.
We had a Kickstarter stretch goal we added, we didn't tell you about that we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you work on it, so you know what resolution to aim for, so to speak. So what is the worst case scenario from a creator's perspective this needs to fill, so to speak, and then you budget time. Yeah.
To reinforce that point, and this is a little bit to the side, but a few years ago when we switched to color, when we began to switch to color printing, Peter Bradley, our artist, he actually told me, we did a couple of books on our standard paper that we were doing through our printer, and he told me, hey, look, Steve, this isn't coming out right. This isn't printing right. You've got to change it to a such and such gloss. And I switched everything. And as soon as we did, and the next book we did, it was full color, and I did it by his color specs. It came out so much better. Mm-hmm. So it really does behoove, if you're going to be a cartographer, an artist, or whatever, to kind of know your end of things. Because to expect Zach and I to know all of that, we've probably heard it at some point, but whether we've cataloged it and stored it away.
You had a dot game problem, didn't you? That was a dot game problem with that paper, wasn't
it? Exactly.
Sorry, that's inside publishing joke.
Yep. and small publishers can't afford to have like a fully professional art director on full time to answer all these questions. The big ones probably might have, so to speak, but and it's hard because, and I know publishers, I'm not going to name names, who have art directors who know everything about print. The problem is that they don't know that much about the digital side. And if you ask them what Fantasy Grounds or Roll20 or something needs, then it's like, okay, you don't know.
There's a huge drag going on, and I go through this every single day with about, I don't know, a third of my people, that they just aren't real happy with the direction everything's going digitally. And I can understand why. We've been playing this way since '76 or whatever it is, and these changes are they're interesting. So getting them to shift and think digitally it's a whole different different conversation.
Yeah, and it's a very moving target. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no. Well, one of the problems is we're old enough now to we've got to the point where we have enough experience. But we learned everything we learned because we bought players' handbooks at Walden Books back in the '80s, right?
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore, and things have changed, and our customer base is changing, and keeping up with that was hard. And we have a full-time art director, and he's good at this. Yeah. We hired somebody specifically for the digital because you recognize I am never going to understand 7 different features of virtual tabletops because I'm too lazy.
Yep, and I think but that's the thing.
I'm just not going to do it.
No, but it's like you both said before that to publish an RPG product, whether it's a player's handbook or an adventure or, God forbid, a game setting, that encompasses so many different specialities over several years and that means that if you're one of the specialists, and meaning cartography is one of these niche specialities that get involved in it, you need to know your stuff, but you also need to know how your stuff fits into the general thing. So you need to have some basic idea of editing, InDesign, and that needs to fit in with the text.
You know, one thing I want to say, that one thing both of you have, not you, Steve, both of you two have, is that what I think, if you really want to be a professional, you have moxie. You have the ability to go, you know, publisher, you're wrong. I'm not going to name any names, but her name starts with A. Oh, wait, that's both of you, but it's AL, who's told me before, like, this isn't going to work the way you told me, man. And she says, man, and she said it really loud, like, man. And then she'll tell me why. And I'll think about that. Like, I hate being wrong, but I admit it. But being able to tell us who do the purchasing up front that this is a great idea, man, but it's not going to work. And then you hear it in English accent and it kind of gets a little aggressive. You listen to it, though, and you realize that she's right. And not only is she right, the ability to say that to me early makes me want to ask you questions. And if I'm asking you questions about a map, I most likely want to give you that map to be the, I want to buy maps from you. If I'm asking you questions because you gave me good advice, that's a great way to have a great relationship and to network.
Well, the net results, if you think about it, though, is like all publishers, but we're talking about you and Stephen in this particular instance. You want to be happy with the results. Whether it be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. Like, I know Anna feels the same way. I want you to be super happy with the results. Like, honestly, I want you to fall out of your seats with the results. I want you to change writing plans because of my map. You know, it's that type of thing that I want. I want you to have a paradigm shift because of a map I give you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I want you to be happy. That's the bottom line. I don't care if I get paid or not. I want you to be happy and proud.
I'm glad to hear that.
I want you to be what? No, I got each other. But I want you to be proud of the results. And I mean that, right?
No, I know.
And if you are a cartographer or an artist supplying work for a publisher, you want that publisher to get the warm and fuzzies when they look at your stuff. And that means really laying down either ground rules, understanding what the project is, and being honest and candid. If you start to see something deviating, because if I follow this path and I give you what you're asking for and it's wrong at the end, you're not going to give a damn about a conversation we had 6 months ago because you're trusting me to give you a product that you're proud of at the end. And so that's the only reason why I'll sort of say, and I think I've done it with Stephen too. You know, I've sat there, we've hashed out some ideas, and if it's not going to work, I'll say, I don't think it's going to work, you know?
No, you did that with Gaxmore, and that's actually a great point, because if there's so many, and I'm not trying to say that, you know, Zach and I are crazy busy, but we're crazy busy. There's lots to publishing, and I have to know whatever cartographer I'm working with is going to tell me, because I'm not going to question. If you tell me this isn't going to work, I'm like, I can't draw stick figures. So I have to assume that, you know, what you're saying is true. And I'm going to go with it. And I appreciate, much like Zach, I appreciate that, because then I don't have to think about it. I know you've got that corner of the world covered, and I don't have to think about it until we got to go to the print or whatever we're doing with that map. So yeah, being candid and upfront is really important. Really important. Yeah, and that goes for everybody out there, editors, writers, all of it. Just say, look,
it's about the stuff we don't know that you think we do. Because if you spend your life in fantasy cartography, which is the oddest thing in the world to be a skill and a hobby, but it is, and I love it. It's art to me, right? If you spend your life in that, you assume that people understand how rivers flow, how coastline works, you know, what direction actually erosion is going in, right? We don't. We have no idea. We have no clue. We only know that we like the map and it looks good.
We're getting a reverb.
It's Stephen. Yeah.
Is
it me?
Yeah. Do you have his speaker headset or something?
I got nothing.
Uh-oh.
That's okay.
I didn't change anything.
It's better now. Whatever you did, it's better now. Oh, a little bit.
All right.
A little bit. So, wow, that was one question, and that went, wow, that was great.
Sorry.
That's good. This is fantastic. Anna had a bunch set. So, Alyssa, Anna, you want to ask something?
Yeah. I want to kind of tie into this discussion a bit and tell if there's hopeful cartographers and stuff getting there realize that you're hired not only to produce the map, but also to be a consultant on the world building aspect, so to speak, whether that is just building a dungeon or building a world. And since my specialty is doing the setting maps, the big thing with lots of geography in it, so to speak, that means that you have to kind of sometimes inform them that it's cool with fantasy rivers that go uphill, but most of them should probably go downhill, and stuff like that. And it's like, it's cool when fantasy geography breaks rules, but those should be, I think, made with conscience made, so to speak, not just made by accident, so to speak. There's a setting. And now we come into the tricky bit here is the communication between, meaning how do you package, often especially when you have to do a setting book, meaning that might be 2,000 pages of setting information to dig into, 10 modules and a previous edition of the book. And when you go into, there is no chance that I can even read half of that in the time period that I'm going to make it. So that is interesting. How do you, from a publisher's perspective, condense down the information to send? Because that might not only be me. You have writers that are going to write a module set in so and so setting, or to write a sequel or a prequel or something to it. Is there any kind of, do you have like a condensed form of library of the world fact or something like that? Yeah.
Sure. No.
That was almost like a Leonard Kafka answer there, Anna.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly. To the point. Nope.
Yeah, well, we have for in Trollord games we do our main settings that we've got 2 in Zaya and the World of Erd, which is behind us. And I actually don't because this is the material plan, I really don't like any aspect of it to deviate from what would happen in an actual natural world.
Yeah.
So that anytime Peter's drawing it or whoever else has worked on this thing, I definitely want it to follow. And if I say something, it needs to go this way, I expect it to not go, because it's not do what I asked to be done.
Yeah.
But we have some abbreviated content because the world of it, at the end of the day, the Codex of Erd, I think, is 380 pages or some such business. But to actually to map it, you don't need that. A lot of it's just, who's the king of whatever and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So there is some condensed part, but part of that is the mythology of it. I do want whatever cartographer's working on it to have some kind of understanding of what deific forces made the world itself, so they'll understand. In Erd, that's sort of important. In the world of Enzay, it's insanely important because the whole world is actually built around the mythology itself, as opposed to the way Erd is.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely, you have to condense that down some, because you don't want to just bury them. And then you get, working on maps now, we're redoing the entire line very slowly. And Bill Edmonds, who I've hired to do it, is lots of questions because he's pouring through the text, and I feel for him because I feel like it's not necessary, but he wants to get all of the maps correct. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, he's finding mistakes, more than
I wouldn't let them pour through text, because they would absolutely find mistakes, and they absolutely would embarrass me when they came back to me. Right? No, in all honesty, for us, maps are ordered either, like a lot of our stuff is either been done back in 2002, 2004, and we really want to update a lot because we love the concept, or it's brand new, but we have maps that are either recently sketched that we have pretty well thought out, or they were done and published before, but we need them really updated. And so we have something to provide, because although we have a world setting, most of our commission maps we do are for dungeons or smaller places for adventures, because we do a whole lot of those. I mean, adventures worth winning, it says on my shirt right here. Mm-hmm. So we do that, and so bullet points are best, but honestly, at this point, we trust our cartographers, and like Alyssa especially. She got a map for, and she can talk more about it, but for an Egyptian Tomb of Ra-Hotep that's coming out. A lot of it was there available for you to see, but what we really wanted from you was art. We wanted you to make it look beautiful and make it look functional, and not hide my dead body on the map like you did. Because if you look on the map, you'll see my dead body in a little red shirt on the map, because they think it's really funny.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is so cool.
Yeah, you think so until it's you. No, but in all honesty, though, we trust the cartographers we work with such a great deal that I get more out of people by saying, here's what we had. Do it like you do it, or I wouldn't want to hire you because I've seen your stuff, right? And I think that I've worked that way with Alyssa since day one, and I've never ever been disappointed. So
Cool.
So
Good
no,
one.
we have no guidelines. I'm sorry. If you're going to work for us, you got to figure it out. Ask Alyssa.
Alyssa, what would you like to ask here? Since Anna's asked one.
Okay, a little bit of a best and worst when it comes to maps, what you've learned, the trials and tribulations. This one's inspired by Pat 66, actually.
Good. Okay, excellent.
Earlier on, he kind of asked what was the easiest project he published. Let's do a variation of that. Like when it's come to maps over the last 2 decades, like what has been some of your biggest learning processes, and maybe cite something that didn't go well or cite something that did go well.
Okay.
Zach, you want to start that off? You want me to do it?
No, I'll start off if you'd like. The worst thing I ever did was I took a giant map to Bill Meinhardt's house in Chicago, and my boss and I and 3 people went over it. As a printed map. We went over it, and I had to sit there with Photoshop and add dots onto it to give to our cartographer. Honestly, trying to rush through. Yes, you laugh it up. You can picture it now in your mind. I know you can.
Oh, I know exactly what you.
Troll Lord games. Yeah, you just laugh at us. I'll get you. No, in all honesty, it's
I feel
the
your
process
pain,
is long.
Zach. I've been there. So.
I know you have. No, that's why I could say that and know that you won't hate me. No, but in all honesty, it's the recognition. The most challenging part, period, is the recognition that this is a process, and respecting what you get, respecting how much work they've come to get to that point, and knowing how to give corrections and how to not give corrections and make other people do the corrections, and at what point you are in a project. So, for example, we were working on the world map, and we found an error in the map where an island said that it was had 20,000 like angry apes on it, basically, and it was 1 square mile big. Well, rather than actually fix that, we made a module called the Isle of the Angry Apes that was based around an error in the book. And so we weren't going to correct a map for a size of an island inside of a water area, because we move towns. You make decisions. You move towns, you move roads, but you don't move waterways or anything else, because that changes everything. Right, so knowing what is possible and at what point, it makes all the differences. So not knowing that stuff is what made it hard. You want to know what's challenging? Challenging is not knowing what you're asking for it and being told you're kind of a jerk. And I don't want to be that. I want to be the kind of person people want to work for. And so in order to do that, I had to learn and adjust, and that was hard. Now, the easiest part now is knowing that when I say, okay, hey, Alyssa, do this Egyptian tomb map that Bill wants you to do, and Alyssa will come back with an Egyptian tomb map in a year that I can watch happening on Twitch, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I have the canvas prints in my office. It's amazing, and that's the easy part. Easy part is once you have developed a relationship where you know you trust people, how great it is. The hardest part is trusting yourself before you deal with professionals to do a good job. And it's all about how you work with people, really. And by the Isle of the Angry Apes is really great.
Awesome.
So I would say probably the hardest thing to deal with that we've had to deal with over time is shading. You know, we've gone from offset printing to digital printing, and I've watched it. When we first began this, we used printers in Canada that did huge offset printers that printed the Codex of Air and the Canting Crew and all this business. And you've got to be careful with the way you shade the maps, because like any piece of art, it might come in too dark. Now, if it's a picture of an orc fighting an elf and part of the chainmail is a little dark, that's okay. But if you've got a dungeon map and part of it's because you've done it a bit artistic and part of it's too dark, it's shaded too dark, that's not okay, because they may not be able to make out clearly what the dungeon room itself is. And when we switched, Troller Games opened up its own print shop in 2005 because we were having troubles with outside printing. So we began printing our own stuff, and that's when we began doing digital print. But we had maps digital print prints just differently. It's just a whole different way that it puts ink onto the paper, or toner rather, because it's offsets toner and digital's ink. Is that right? But that's not right. No,
it's the other way around.
It depends.
Yeah, it's the other way around. Yeah.
Sure.
So it just prints different. And so we were still doing offset with hardcover, and we were doing digital with soft cover, and this created kind of this, once again, a schizophrenic approach to the way we're doing these. We're only doing black and white in those days, so We've got it shaded here, and it prints different here, so that's a whole different struggle. And
then
I
print
know
POD at drive-through and make it 3. No.
well, that's a whole different. The whole POD. You know, when does that start? 2008 or so, something like that.
Yeah, but like
2006?
in earnest, about 2012.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the PODs have a wide range of quality, and I've learned that because
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, I've used 3 different
Understatement.
print companies to set up our own print shop, you know, to have the digital printers in there. So even those machines come in so different. So the shading has been quite a struggle to hit that kind of tone that that it looks good, that people can still use it. And then enter color. So now color changes the whole game because color is going to print different, especially if you're printing it in black and white and in color. So now you've got, again, this kind of, you know, I keep using the word schizophrenic. I probably shouldn't, but this dual approach to mapping, and it has been quite, we'll say, a challenge. That's what I like to use around here. It's been quite a challenge to keep up with shading and maps and make sure it all comes out decently and still very, very playable. And now we've thrown VTT and digital into it. So what? I don't know what's happening.
No, but it's kind of funny because sometimes
he's right.
Yeah, someone come and say, "Oh, the map is way too dark, so you need to tweak it. So you boost the color or the brightness level significantly, and you change it, make a new file, and name it differently, send it." And then someone say, "Oh, that's the new file." So then they send that one to the printer or to something else that becomes way too bright. So to change in the source file is also risky because that means that you have more versions that you have to keep track of. In the perfect world, the printers would know how their printing press and process was actually dialed up, so to speak. So,
and what was really cool, we get proofs and we get wet sheets and we get wet proofs, we get all kinds of proofs. And the thing is, we have to actually know to pay attention in our workflow while we're making new stuff to look at the stuff that's in process to be able to check it and then speak the same language to them. So it's challenging. What Steve's saying is no lie. And it changes all the time.
And calibration should work, theoretically should work.
But it doesn't. Theoretically. It's awesome.
Zach, remember Teagle? When you actually put that on canvas and how dark it was?
Yeah, I do.
It's like if we hadn't done a couple of
it's all right.
Our partner status is gone.
We're set to mature audiences.
And your team partners. No, but if we hadn't done a couple of test prints, I mean, that thing was way darker than I thought it was going to be. And you getting a proof like that test print, I was like, whoa. And we had to lighten that bad boy up so much.
And the thing is you don't know. And one of the things I think that younger cartographers, I don't mean younger in age, but younger in like professional experience, they get the first few times. Man, when you're in Photoshop, everything looks great when it's zoomed up 800%. I mean, everything's awesome. You just got the numbers big enough and the glow's perfect and everything. But when you actually think about what it's going to look like when people actually see it on a page versus how they're going to use it on a tablet or on a phone, I mean, that's the other thing you have to worry about with digital is you have all kinds of places it's going to show up and get read, and they're not the same. And people get angry about that. You'd be amazed. But it's the knowing the output. It's not just like knowing it's going to go to a book to be printed in 4 offset, 4 colors going to print POD, but also how's it going to look on digital paper. And when you're not staring at it, because I have a 39-inch monitor, right? I do. And it's not even, I'm sure it's smaller than everybody here who's a cartographer, and I hope that's the case. But I have 2 of them. The thing is that, so I'll work on things zoomed in. I can see I'm so proud of the texture that I see that I put in the little wooden floor on this little ad. Oh, it's beautiful. It's got little wood grains. You can't see that on anything. And if you're zooming in that close, you're doing the wrong thing, but I'm so proud. Don't be that. Don't be me. That's why I don't make maps. That's why I appreciate them. But I'm just telling you,
this is why I do wood grain on all of my maps for you, Zach.
Yeah,
because I just love it. I can't help it. It reminds me of Atari 2600. I can't help it.
And then comes the next problem when you send that to a VTT is that we can only have
images
that are 2,000 pixels across, or 1,500 pixels, and you realize that it doesn't compute, so to speak. So it's very, very tricky to navigate the whole thing. So when you do a project, realize that you might have to do 3 or 4 different versions of it. So keep that in mind. So you have different layers and that things can match. So you can export it into a low resolution grayscale. You can have and certain things, and sometimes things need to be compressed. And you have the opposite problem. All of a sudden, someone say, "Oh, we want to have a big poster map. We want to simply say, oh, we're going to Gen Con in 6 months, or like next month. That even worse.
Yeah, next week.
Next month. So we need to have a print, an enormous canvas to hang in, a banner to hang in our booth. Meaning, if you blow it up, then you realize that text and symbols need to be vectorized, because otherwise they will look like a brick wall.
Bicubic enlargement just don't do it.
Exactly. Texture and stuff, okay, you can get away with it. You can kind of put grain in it and you can kind of fake it a bit. You can't do that with text heraldry and text and symbols and stuff like that. Vector is key. So start thinking about what medium and what technique you're using, and a good map needs to mix and match between vector and pixel based art, so to speak, and that is something that you need to kind of tweak, so you can go up and down and layer it properly, because some will say, oh, we need to have this information on a DM layer and this needs to be on a player layer.
Guilty.
Exactly. Start thinking about that when you do it, and before you put the 4,000 different names and symbols and stuff in there. So put the symbols on a separate layer, put the different kind of things on separate layers, because it can be really tricky. And when I'm getting it, one little advice more is that outline the text. Don't think that if you send a PDF or an Illustrator file to someone, they don't have your fonts. And that is one of the other little advice, so to speak. Make an outlined version and a version where you keep the fonts editable.
Well, let me ask one back at you, to both of you ladies. Alyssa's, I kind of can guess, but how many layers are in one of your final map files that you're going to do, but not ones you like turn over, ones you're working with as a production map file?
I can have 200 layers sometimes on a map, just in case, so to speak. And sometimes what I do is that I keep the layers as separate files in a structure. I don't keep them in the file, so I can import them in a way, especially masks. You need masks for rivers, for all terrain types. And then you need masks for elevation, you need masks for erosion, you need masks for whatever, lots of stuff, so to speak. So if someone comes and said, oh, we need to brighten certain areas of the map, then put in the right mask and you can put it up. Or we would
never do that.
Oh yes, so you need to have these kind of stuff in there, so to speak. That's what makes the files large, and when you, especially when you work on huge maps, then you want to keep it. So it's more like manage information as much as doing the artistic kind of doodly bits, so to speak, and to think from a project perspective, so to speak. When do you need what? And also, the other key thing, tell the publishers after now we lock down the terrain, meaning no mountains are going to be moved or added or something. Now we lock down rivers, and first we lock down major things like coastlines and land masses and stuff. Then we go into more detailed stuff like the road network and buildings eventually and stuff. And you can always do so they don't afterwards say, oh, we need that road can't go over the mountain there. We need a pass going through and a canyon and stuff like that, because that's in the adventure. So make sure you communicate your work process so they know that, okay, now we can talk about these things, and then we need to nail down that at month so and so, and then go on, so to speak. It's kind of tricky, and that depends on what process. If you're doodling things in Photoshop and doing it 2D artistic, then you can probably change a lot of things late in the process. But when it comes to doing it, like I do with 3D terrain, then the terrain is kind of hard set. Once then it's created and rendered, to go back and change things is difficult. But to put make a snowy version, that can do that in half an hour. That's easy to change the seasons. It's very, very easy, which might be very tricky if you're doing it in Photoshop to begin with, so to speak. And you have, it depends on, certain things are easy and difficult depending on the technique and the style, so to speak.
I still want to hear Steve's answer what was easy for him and what was hard.
Yeah.
Don't want to make sure that's just mine or I'm going to feel embarrassed.
The hard part was the shading, and we still it is an issue. I mean, when cartographers put stuff that's too dark on there and it prints too dark, and then you just got to make sure when you're creating a map to not go heavy on any darks, whether it's colors or whatever it is, because You just don't know how it's going to print in the end. And if I don't catch it or someone doesn't catch it and we print it and we've just laid down $28,000 for, you know, a print run, that's a ruined map in there. So you just got to be, so the shading for me has been the hardest thing to make sure I catch that. Cause I don't have, you know, I'm CEO of the company, I run the company. I don't have this great eye for detail. I don't, you know, I'll look like Alyssa did Gaxmore, and I still go back to Gaxmore, and I still see things that she put into it that I probably should have seen when she turned it over. But I just that's why I like art. I like to go back and look at it. But so I'll miss things like that. So from the cartographer's point of view, I watching that shading is crazy important because it's just you just get
my
too many
boss
darks
would
and
never
it's
miss that
dark.
stuff, Steve. My boss would never miss that. Not a million years.
Yeah, we all love Bill.
We do. No, it's just a CEO's job is not to do that. The higher up you go in the chain in any company that's an RPG company, the less they know about any products they don't have time.
Yeah.
So
So
people
realize
always ask
put
me if
shade.
I've read this book or that book, and I have not.
So put shading on a
another-
separate layer. So put shading on a separate layer so you can dial it up and down without having to screw out the colors.
Adjust
of
it. And to add to your point a minute ago, you know, with the 200 layers, I think this map behind me, I can't remember. It's so many layers on this thing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But about half of them are well labeled and the other half are not well labeled. So when you create layers, make sure you label them very, very well.
Yep. And structure files the same way one after the other. So especially for if you work with one publisher and there's like 3-4 different versions or whatever, make sure that the layers are structured the same way, named the same way. So you don't have to learn from scratch again when you send it. So
each time. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's, you know, and to add to finish that question, the easiest thing, I don't know, probably the easiest thing for maps is it's very easy for me to look at a map and to know that I like it. I like this map. This is what I want in the book. That part's easy for me. All the other technical stuff from the artistic point of view, that's not easy for me. It's not easy at all.
Yeah.
I do have maps. If we need to reference them, I can go to another screen and put them on the big screen, and we can reference them. Melissa, Anna, Stephen, and
I would love to bring up even just a few from each of the publishers here, and have them talk to those maps.
Let's do that.
Yes,
I would love to hear their
perfect idea.
opinions.
Yep. Perfect idea.
All right, so here we go. That's the wrong screen. Give me a second here. That's
top of Steve's head.
That's a share.
Elmick has the big screen. Don't do the wrong screen for the big
That's
screen.
a share screen. Yep. So let me try this here.
Yeah.
I got so many different screens open now. I'll probably crash. I'm going to crash everything. Let me try and get the classification.
I believe in you, man.
I believe in me too. For some reason, it's not. Sometimes. Let me go here to 13. I got so many different ones open here. Nope, not there. Jay, what are you doing? I had it all preset.
Well, it's good.
It's got to be this one. I know what it is. I know what it is. Give me 1 sec. Oh
yeah,
man.
you need to.
I'm a rookie here. I gotta make it. I gotta make it desktop 1. That's it. Display 1. There we go. Boom,
there
boom.
you go. Perfect.
Sorry, my apologies, everyone.
This is a Stephen one.
My apologies. Yeah, we'll go back and forth. Does that sound good?
And by the way, we've got a whole bunch of maps from Troll Lord, so my apologies. This one happens to be mine, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not meant to be the Alyssa show. But Stephen, talk about this.
Well, this.
So these maps are a series of maps that Alyssa did for us in the Castle Keeper's Guide, and this is a book that we've originally released in 2015. It is for Castles and Crusades, and it's this gigantic tome of just information. It's just how to build cities, how to build worlds, how to manage NPCs. There's just all kinds of stuff in the Castle Keeper's Guide. And in this section particularly, I can't remember who wrote it, either Davis, myself, or Casey. I can't remember who wrote this section, but it was all we described. What is it? It's a hamlet. It's a farmstead, hamlet, village, town, city, metropolis, some fortresses, moat and bailey keep, stuff like this.
Yes.
We had great descriptive terms in there, so you could read the text and you know what we're talking about. But in this latest printing, the one we just released 6-8 months ago, whatever it was, Alyssa joined us to do maps. I wanted everything mapped out, and I hope I gave you enough time on that, Alyssa. I know we're just kind of turned that section over to you.
It was fair.
And they turned out brilliantly, so you can see these maps. They're really my favorite part of the book, because it visually gives the reader what we're trying to describe. And when you're doing world building, it's you can read a lot of text and you absorb all this information about cities of this size and walls and whatever it is. But if you can actually see it, even if it's just one 3D representation of it, it gives your mind, it fuels your mind with so very, very much, information that you can take that text then and do something with it. It's very difficult to just read text and put something out. And this is what Alyssa did for it. These are just jaw dropping. I love these maps, every one of them.
Yep.
This was a joy to work on for you, by the way. And I will say, live streaming it while I worked on them made me do maps I would not normally do. The whole isometric sort of castle. Right. I would never do that. I remember you asking me to draw a village, bird's eye view, in amongst the trees on the side of a mountain. And I was like, I don't do that type of thing, Stephen. And then a year later, I give you this. I'm like, well, apparently I can.
So turned out beautifully. What are those maps called when they? Is it cutaway when you show like a key?
A cutaway, yeah.
There's a cutaway somewhere. Yes, there you go.
Because a tower from above is boring as hell. Yeah, it's a circle.
Exactly.
VTTs, it's exciting.
Yeah. We got
So I've added in the key to this map specifically here, and you can see it in all of them if you look at the details. The key is you're watching people live, and we watch movies and we play whatever game we play, but people actually lived in these things. So, and they just lived. They got up in the morning and they washed their face and they went to the bathroom and they joked and they whatever they did. So you look at a map like this and you can see how they lived, and that I think that brings so much to life for an RPG that takes it away from the very typical, though very necessary pictures of what the orc fighting the elf or whatever. You need that. You got to have all of that, of course. But there's also in role-playing games, there's the real. There's just people living, doing stuff, and that's what's captured in these maps. Absolutely love these maps.
Awesome.
And I could go on about them for like 30 minutes.
It's great. I love this is called Outer Planes with Grid.
Wait, what that is actually we label our maps differently depending on where they're going. This one's actually in the Humble Bundle that we're doing right now.
Oh, okay.
This is part of. We label that because that's the name of the map, so people who are actually going to use it can find it. And with grid means it's got a grid for them if they want. When we make also versions without, like I was talking about with layers, we need them for all kinds of ways, which is why et cetera. But I love this one because this one's from, I believe, from City of Brass, and it's about going from like various like otherworldly floating islands, and we don't. We always talk about we let them to be real. Well, these are real. They just have to be floating islands. Okay. But going from place to place, the guys loved it because it gives you a representation of like what each one is like, so you can see it. And this is a player map because it has none of the actual content on it for GMs. And I just think they look lovely, and I love the background. And all those came unplanned. We just they got 4 ovals, and like make them look like floating islands, and this is what you get back. And this is the part where I didn't know it when I first started wanting to work in games, and I made my first one for Kickstarter. But this is the best part, is because I can't make this. I can't even visualize what I want that good. And this, what you get back is that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm right here. I'm going to do this one because I want to know about this. But this is Bard's Gate, right? And this is the bridge. It just says. Yeah. What I'm
going to say about this, I put this up there for a reason. The reason I put up there was when we were talking about maps getting used multi ways. Before I was smart about this. We were trying to highlight districts inside of chapters in a book. And so somebody, and I won't name any names, but he only wanted to know with a Z, starts with a Z. He went through with a vector pen and would go to the giant map that was huge, and it would outline the whole district, one pen punch at a time.
Wow.
Learning how to use a pen tool. But in order to highlight to them, so the maps that you create hopefully have someone more talented than me behind it. But you will see maps you create as a cartographer getting changed or being used as ways to highlight various portions. And this one, because the map from Robert Altbauer, who did the city, which is a beautiful map of Bard's Gate, which is just inspiring, really wonderful. And he has a whole background making these. But what made it great was it was so high resolution and perfectly done to where I could pull out the piece and give it some, it was too dark in print, by the way, just like Steve Schnault's right. But it had some shading to it so you could see where it was in the city and get kind of a close-up so you get an idea of the district. So you look and read about it, you can actually get a hint. And it's
a great idea. Yeah.
It is it's a great idea. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Awesome. So I'm going to Troll Lord now, and this one says aired world weather map.
Oh,
yes.
this is my up my alley. I love
Yeah.
it. Oh, this is so cool. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, so this is the entire world of Aird. If you look at where it says, what is that, number 11 there? Right above it, that's going to be the anvil wind, that little turning black that goes into the 11. Yeah, right there where your mouse is. And that section where the arrowhead is actually this.
That, okay,
Okay.
And the rest of it is the world of Aird. Peter Bradley did this. I absolutely love this this map, and it's done. This is one of those that I've got it in black and white sepia tone. I've got it with no terrain. You know, you all those layers that you talk about when you're building a map. This one definitely has it. And I created these wind currents, and this is just all of the wind currents in the world, and they're named in the Codex of Aird.
So
I love this map.
Here's my question, Stephen. Is there inspiration for the near Div in this a little bit, the way that looks?
Oh yeah, so I am a gigantic Greyhawk fan. I played Greyhawk. I started Greyhawk in the Folio edition that goes back to 79. Is that right, or 80 or whatever? 80. Yeah, and that's the one I used. Yeah, that's the one I used forever. I didn't even use the red box. What was that called? What was that called? Something.
Known World.
Yeah.
The red box of Greyhawk when that came out. I didn't even switch. I just
they're from the ashes and stuff. You used with the 83 bucks. Yep.
Yeah, I just stuck with the Folio edition forever. I absolutely love Greyhawk. So Greyhawk was a huge inspiration for the world of Aird. And this, I don't know if you can see. Can you see this map behind me?
Yeah.
We can see it a little bit. Yep.
This is going to be your near div.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, and Woolly Bay, and I was like, wow, I got that feel. Wow. Okay, I was good.
So
good to know.
What I
good
did
to know.
was, and I don't know that I've ever actually said this publicly. I may have once, but when I played Greyhawk, we played forever and a day, and then the Gulf War broke out, and I joined the Army. We didn't know what was going to happen. I was just going off to to whatever, and so we closed our long running campaign that had been going on for about 6 or 7 years, and they were 15th or 16th level. I can't remember what it was, but I did this kind of world-ending cataclysmic event called the Winter Dark. Now, fast forward, the war ends. I actually never went. I ended up in Hawaii. The war ended before I even got out of training. But so I ended up in Hawaii, and I spent 3 years over there just creating this world of Aird. So I took that cataclysmic event of Greyhawk, and I reshaped Greyhawk. So really, at the core of creation of Aird was 6 years of gaming in Greyhawk, and I'm still a huge fan of Greyhawk. Love that world.
You got migrations here, just like Greyhawk. That's why I saw this map. I was like, you have the migrations, like the Reclunar Soul after the Rain of Colors Fire too. And I was like, for this map too.
I love living in a world where we can all talk about the Big Lake and Greyhawk and all know what we're talking about. This is the perfect timeline for us nerds.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no kidding.
It is. And
so this is if you look over to the left, that's the Forge of the Allfather where he created life. We created men eventually come out of there, and those are the tribes of men as they spread across the world of Aird.
Very cool. So wonderful stuff here, and I'm really happy to see you got your inspiration. That you showed that. That was fantastic.
I love Greyhawk. Love it.
Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever mentioned him. The guy, his name is Casey Christopherson, and he writes really weird adventures. And he's one of my favorite people on the planet. This is from a book called Encephalon Gorgers on the Moon. And we call them Encephalon Gorgers because if we use the word Mind Flayer, I have to go live in Steve's basement. I won't have a house anymore. So this is Encephalon Gorgers on the Moon, which is basically about mind flayers, and it's a real kind of a pulpy kind of extraterrestrial weird adventure. And I thought he did such a great job describing this to the cartographer. What we got back was a really neat looking and fun thing you can kind of show players, especially if you take off the GM components. It really gives you a sense of feeling you're there and feeling the otherworldly yet familiar together at once. The strange moon in the background. I thought that was well done. He's the one who actually made the art order and the descriptions that it came out great.
It's cool.
Yeah.
A classic.
He's an art director. It helps.
An all-time classic here for.
Oh yes.
So big.
Yeah.
It's 12 by 12, printed out 12 by 12.
I saw someone laying on that or walking around it and whatnot.
Tyco Manor, right? This is
My body's on that one too.
Yeah.
I don't remember where. Alyssa can tell you.
You die on
That was
every
the first
map
time.
here, so yep.
Yeah, it's really everybody loves it, especially my wife.
There
It's
is a
touching.
secret corridor, and I decided to put a dead Zach in the corridor,
Oh,
in the goddamn it Zach t-shirt, holding his favorite RPG of all time.
It was after the 10th month of working on this, I think.
It's so
Zach, you're
awesome.
literally a casualty on every map here.
I am, but you know, it's because we get her maps and they're like very big and very long. And by the time she's done, she's like, you know who I hate? I hate this guy.
Yeah.
I live streamed the work on this full time, like 10 hours a day.
Wow.
Oh, I know.
And
Yeah.
it was so
Alyssa,
much fun.
yeah, Alyssa, is this done in one document or is it spread out?
It's one document. Yeah.
This is the first time I met a PSB file.
Mhm.
That's how I made
Yeah.
my acquaintance. That's when my computer first roared.
Uh-huh. Yep.
The Tyco Manor Map is based on a map that existed, obviously, because it's a property from Judges Guild from what, 1977, Steve? About then?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
77, 78. It's one of the first like haunted manor
Yeah.
kind of adventure. It's a wild. There's nothing modern about it. And
No,
the thing is,
yeah.
the map really mattered though. The map is the key element that makes it interesting and fun because the book itself, the map is really cool, and the book itself has like 12 numbers in it and have one word descriptions. And so it was updated and done by over the course of many years. We finally got around to doing this. We know we need the perfect indoor map for it, and we knew just the person who would make it over the top and perfect and would pay attention to all the rooms, even with the kayaks in them. And it was just wonderful.
You made me remove the kayaks.
I did.
Someone circled the kayaks and put a red question mark. I was like, okay, I've gone too far.
That was me. I'm sorry.
Well,
That's
you
the
put
only
the
time I've ever edited
kayaks
you.
in there. That's
No, but the truth is, it's a crazy map that's really interesting. It's based on an adventure that a lot of people really love, and we licensed it from Judges Guild. And I'm so proud of the map that I think that when I compare it to the original map, you seldom see original map and then you see a new one that you like better just because it doesn't seem like it even feels the same. This one feels completely different, though it has the same shape. It feels different, and it's a work of art that I'm just get really excited about because you can't play the game without it, and it makes the game better because of how she made it. That's why I love this map.
Can't you chop this up and use this for VTT rather easily too?
It's on VTT.
No.
They've got
It's on VTT. There you go. Okay, great.
Is it easy? No, it was not easy, but we did it.
All right.
And
Okay.
now, Alyssa, I need to ask a few technical questions. I mean, you had it in one big document. Do you use any pre-made assets, or is it all hand-drawn on for this project?
Most of this is actually hand-drawn. We had a couple of artists creating hand-drawn assets for it because there's so many assets. But I mean, I did most of it actually sort of live streaming. So there would be, let's say, a kitchen where it's describing plates like in the kitchen sink half full of water. So I would draw it. I would actually draw it. That was actually one of my favorite
drumsticks.
parts.
She put chicken drumsticks on the plates of this place setting.
Yeah.
She had little tiny bear print paws with a teddy bear that kills people. There's little tiny paws with blood covered on it. This is
why
greatest
it
map
took
ever made.
this one took about 350 hours, which wasn't too bad. But I mean, there was some awesome things in this. A room would be described as rotting dead food everywhere and full of flies. And I spent a whole episode just drawing little freaking flies. I mean, it was, or the torture room. The torture room was maybe my favorite, and because I had people chiming in with different torture devices, and I got to paint butt splatter
Everywhere.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
No, it's a wonderful map, and we're at Frog Guy. We're very, very proud of it.
Yeah.
I
Can you
know
zoom
when,
in a bit, Jay? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can see the detail a bit. Yes. So zoom in.
I'm not even
one.
sure this is. I didn't give you a big enough file. I'm not sure to
It
see
might
the
be
detail.
not be the full resolution. Yeah.
This is good.
Yep.
So I really want to see Zach's body. Where's Zach's body?
Oh shoot! So it's to the
when you get
right,
the raw Hotep
a
map, she
little
can tell you
bit.
that it's more
There's
recent. More recent murder.
Don't go.
Nobody
southeast.
wants to see Zach.
Go east. It's towards the east. I don't know if we're gonna find it live on show, but it's actually.
I don't see any bodies.
Zoom in.
She hit it very well. No one will ever get arrested for this murder.
Yeah, I don't know how high of a resolution I can. Is that it? Is this it right here? Is that it? No, it's not.
No, there's a basically a room with a gorilla in it, and it's staring towards.
I'll send you a
wall.
close up afterwards. We can all have one.
But look at that detail. You can see the deer's head on the bookshelf. I guess I can't quite make that up, but that detail is astounding.
But part of the
Absolutely
challenge with a map like this, like Zach alluded to earlier, is you're given a description of a room, and you could just draw the room and leave it like that, or if the description starts to mention things like deer heads and stuff on there, draw it.
And to be fair, when we approached Alyssa, my boss, Bill, he loves Tyco Manor more than almost anything on earth. His wife may win by a smidge, right? No, he loves Tyco Manor, and he has the original map in his house, right? And he wanted this to be the most over the top, the most amazing artistic map possible. And this was communicated to Alyssa. This wasn't like, here's a dungeon map, Alyssa, and she went in there and drew elk's heads and little pieces of food on the plates. This was designed to be the be-all, end-all map for an old school dungeon like Haunted House type adventure, and she did a great job. I mean, it did more than we asked for, and it was just wonderful.
Very, very cool. Love it.
My body's not on there. Don't look.
Hopefully I don't get in trouble for this next one, Steven.
Oh,
Igsburg.
Oh, look at there.
Darlene, right?
Yep.
We got 2 for
Oh,
Darlene.
bless her.
I think.
Man. So this for those out there, this is Yigsburg. This is there's two maps of Yigsburg. This is one of them. There's another one that's done in 3D isometric, buried in the file somewhere. But this definitely, that's Darlene's font. I honestly can't remember if we worked a lot with Darlene in those days. She didn't do the isometric one, so this one may be hers. You'd have to zoom in and I'd have to look at it. I haven't looked at Yigsburg in a long time, but Yigsburg is a city created by Gary Gygax. That is the setting within which his Castle Zagig exists. So we did this. In fact, I think I got it in this gigantic drawer. Yeah, we did this. This book came out, the Yigsburg Castle Zagig city setting. And this is one of the coolest things we ever worked on. And he passed away when we were about maybe a quarter of the way through it. So the city, Yigsburg, is broken up into, it's been so long, I think it's 14 districts. And each of those districts, we were zooming in. So this is your kind of explains your neighborhoods and whatnot. The isometric map that we did is the actual city itself. And then we were working on individual books for individual neighborhoods. And I think it was 14. So each of this map is this, and then the other one zooms in, and then those maps we're going to zoom in down into streets and alleys and all of that. And the detail was extraordinary. We'd gotten, I think, 3 of them done when he passed away. This was a monstrous project. Absolutely beautiful work on it. I honestly can't remember if that's Darlene, though.
Well, this is Darlene.
This is Darlene. Yep.
That's definitely Darlene. That is the Haunted Highlands by Zach's favorite person. And one of my favorite people is Casey Christopherson. Casey is a fantastic writer. He's a great artist. But this is his Haunted Highlands. And I think he's written 11 adventures for us in the Haunted Highlands. And Darlene drew this absolutely beautiful map. And I cannot say, I can't say enough good about Darlene. Her art, her maps, it somehow captured that entire era, I think, of the early RPGs, the 1970s, 1980s. And it encapsulated it. I don't know. It encapsulated the idea of fantasy even in her font. So when you looked at this, and I was a big reader of magazines like Heavy Metal and Epic Magazine, all of the fantasy stuff. I was deep into all of it, but Darlene somehow captured, I don't know, the age just absolutely beautifully, both in the world of Greyhawk, which she did. And then she just kind of revisited it in the Haunted Highlands and did just an extraordinary job.
Darlene's the reason why I actually love fantasy maps, because as a kid, I would have them spread out on the floor and I'd look at them and I'd imagine armies moving and people adventuring and people living. And it was a living thing on a flat piece of poster.
Yeah.
And then, which is why when I did my box set, I wanted that so bad. And when Alyssa sent me the map of the little whisper of venom I did, I felt the same way again. And that's what really art, it fires your imagination. And that's what this did. And Darlene did it. She's just a goddess.
It's hard to, and it may just be I'm an old man and I liked this when I was young, whatever. But when you look at her, there's a simplicity to it, you know, to this map.
Yep.
It's elegant. That's a perfect word for it. It's absolutely elegant. But there's not this, I don't know, it's just browns and greens and blues. I don't know. It just captured this moment, I think, in gaming's history that will be difficult to recapture simply because it was new. You know, it was new, and she had this, I don't know, this.
All you had before
elegant
that
is
was
the
a
best
Tolkien
word.
map.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tolkien map was really all where you had before, because there weren't a whole lot of fantasy regional maps being published places, I think. And hers was so good and so colorful.
I was so happy that she did this map for the Haunted Highlands. I was absolutely so happy. It's just beautiful.
So let's do a couple more questions before we get to the Yuletide cheer part of this, which is I will burn through it as quickly as I can. Oh my gosh. So I'll make this a two-parter. How did the pandemic change what you do, and did that involve adding more Kickstarters, and is that a huge success for both your companies using Kickstarters?
I'm making Steve take this one.
All right, so rephrase the question. Chuck had asked me a question, and I was answering him on Skype.
The pandemic, the changes that the pandemic made to the company, and also did that include using more Kickstarters, and have they been successful?
So the pandemic, weirdly enough, I mean, it certainly impacted Trollard Games in that our sales went up dramatically. And I think that's because so many people were at home, and we all owe a good debt of gratitude to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, because when the pandemic sets in, that game was already doing extraordinarily well. When the pandemic set in, it started to explode. And more importantly, this whole new younger crowd of people migrated from video games or wherever they migrated over and into tabletop role-playing game. And I know that Trollard Games benefited from this giant boost, you know, in the community. Obviously, Twitch had something to do with that, all of that. And the pandemic, I think, proved to be an accelerant for what was already happening. Twitch was already here. VGT was already here. Like Zach was saying earlier, it was here, but it was only we were kind of half putting, you know, energy into it, if half putting energy into it.
But you're a generous man.
Yeah, real generous. But the COVID proved to be an accelerant, and it pushed everyone into the home and in front of the camera, and people had to suddenly, you know, if you wanted to keep your weekly game going, you close your table down, and here you are, you know, playing on Zoom or whatever it is you're using. And Twitch, you know, it's a place to find other gamers. And now you've got this new crop of gamers coming in. So I think that COVID was this gigantic accelerant, both for our society at large and for the gaming industry, and very particularly for the gaming industry, both video, tabletop, board games, whatever it is, because people are at home and they're gaming now. So I think in that regard, the pandemic had this gigantic impact on Trollard Games. As for our actual schedules, and not much, to be honest with you. We were already doing Kickstarters. It didn't change the way we were doing anything, other than we began to put more time and energy actually into the VTT side of things, because that was clearly something that wasn't an outlier. I think one of the funniest decisions I've made as a CEO, I remember back in 2005, I don't know, 2004, James came up to me, the guy who owned RPG Now, and he was trying to sell me on these things called PDFs. You know, people are going to download these PDFs and complain. I'm like, nobody is ever going to download a book in PDF. We're not doing it. So the next year at GTA, he said, "Hey, Steve." I said, yes, let's do the PDFs. I was completely wrong. And we're in that kind of same zone that the VTTs, and I know that there's, you know, we talked about this earlier, there's a little bit of drag from people, slightly older people, I suppose, that it's going in this direction. Is it going to stay there? It's not only going to be that, but it's definitely moving in that direction. Now, I want to add this, and this is a very interesting thing, because I've listened to this since I started publishing. I shouldn't say that. Since PDFs became a thing in 06, 07, when they really began to pick up speed, I have listened to countless people tell me that print is dead. Print is dead. No. Print is dead. It's just going to die. Absolutely not.
No.
It is nowhere near dead. It is it is still well above 80% of our sales come from print products rolling through either distribution, retail, or our own mailroom. So print is in no way, shape, or form. And this whole new culture of gaming using whether they're on Twitch or Zoom, they're still buying the books. I'm on TikTok and I'm watching these people.
You're on TikTok?
Yeah, I am on TikTok. I'm trying to figure it
I
out.
gotta go.
I'm-
No.
Even I won't be on TikTok there.
Yeah,
I
I'm
won't
trying
do
to
it.
figure it out.
Warlord
But
games,
I'm
I
watching
knew it.
all these kids. They're holding up like 10 and 12 books, or whatever they're showing. They're doing the exact same things we did back in the 80s. There's no difference. It's just they're not sitting at the table. So I think in that regard, the COVID was an accelerant for TLG to push us a little bit harder into VTT. And I'll say, even with COVID being the accelerant, I've drug my feet. I have not been as aggressive as both Chuck and Tim have been trying to make me be. I am going to be aggressive in the future, though.
Yeah.
Awesome. Zach, you want to tackle that one?
Well, we were very successful. We were very lucky. We had a lot of things going our way before it even happened in terms of being set up for it. And if you could have picked a company, I think more ready for that to happen, that had no idea it was coming at all, was us, because my boss lives on a farm, and on the farm we have on this old McDonald's on a farm. On this farm, we had a warehouse, EIEIO, right? And it's a 40,000 foot warehouse that we do most of our own shipping. We work with distribution, but we don't rely on distribution. We work a lot of digital sales. We have a lot of channels we sell from across the ways. And because of all those things that we had, because we're greedy capitalists, we were able to continue. And what was like Steve said, the accelerant, what mattered to us was making sure we were doing it fast enough and good enough so we could pay the people who relied on us. And in RPGs, I never tell anybody, never rely on this as a job, right? I tell that to myself almost every day. But people who do this as commissioned work, they have families and they have car payments and they have things that matter. And in order to keep up with that, we did ramp up our production. But the flip side is our customers came through too. We had a way better pandemic than anybody deserved to have, and we're really grateful to our customers and everybody who worked for us, because it really was good to us.
Thank
I
you.
still would vote against it if I could vote, but I didn't.
I think we all would.
I'm just making that clear. I don't want to make it sound like I'm too much of a capitalist.
All right. So one final set of questions here, and we've already tackled VTTs, but I'm assuming that you think that trend's going to continue with the VTT. How
It'll be in VR soon.
Yeah, that's very. I know Adam's been talking about that. How detailed down do you get on VTT maps? Like, to what level?
Well, that's actually my kind of final shift in the direction I want the maps to go. Is it's going to have detail. It's going to have more than the cut and dry blue maps from the 1980s and the ones that I kind of got stuck on there for a little while. It's going to have detail for the VTT, because it's, everyone can see it, viewers can see it, players can see it, everybody can see it, so they got to see what they're looking at. It's got to have that artistic feel to it, so you feel like you're in the room with the players if you're watching it on Twitch or however you're viewing that.
Quite frankly, for us, if I was going to pick what details should it go to, I think soon it's going to have to be considered work on Unity.
Get the bad
because you're going to use Unity is what defines all digital spaces. The digital spaces are going to be 3D, and games. I have a game called Demio in VR where it's like playing a dungeon adventure game crawl. It's perfect. It works so well. It will happen. So as publishers, we have to be ready to accept the fact that is where stuff is going to wind up if you want to be competitive in big spaces. And so that's what kind of detail we'll be looking at eventually.
Yeah, we got the reverb from someone again. It was quiet for a while. Now we got some reverb there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Stevie, you need to talk again.
It works. Is it me? Am I doing it?
Yeah. Now it works. Yep. It works when you're talking. It's okay. Yeah.
So so Balfred said, do you interview ship to we're gonna have our friends come in. Chuck, come on in. Do you either of you sell to gaming stores who resell there, or is that a thing of the past?
Yeah, we do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that part of the business?
It's very healthy.
It is healthy. Okay. Okay.
So
we're getting better all the time, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Zach lived through this, and this is kind of it's Dungeons and Dragons is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. There is no doubt it carries the market. And when 4th edition dipped, which it did dramatically, a lot of retailers began dropping RPGs, because if 10% of your sales are RPGs and 80% of those sales are Dungeons and Dragons, and Dungeons and Dragons isn't selling, you go somewhere else. So we saw exactly, you saw during the 4th edition era, because it's a fine game, but because it wasn't appealing like other versions had, the retail market suffered dramatically. And Zach, Frog God lived through that. We lived through that. We all watched those sales, dwindle all the way down, but 5th edition has turned that around.
No, I just hear old stories where you and Bill talk about that. That was before me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We've been around since D20 days. So, but a lot of it is cyclic, and a lot of it, and I don't want to take away from what Frog God does. They do some fantastic games, and certainly I stand behind Troll Lord products. We do some fantastic games, but at the end of the day, for RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons is still the weight. It still carries with it.
No, it's all that matters.
It does well. Yeah, when it does well, we all do well. So we are definitely seeing in the last, Zach, year and a half, 2 years, this resurgence. And stores seem to have adjusted to the pandemic fairly well with masks.
I think they're better than I expected when it started. And I'll be honest with you, Wizards of the Coast is not our partner because we don't do anything that much directly with them except for talk to them at conventions. But they are a great partner to have because they could easily squash us or ruin our lives or make it miserable, and they don't. They make it better. They want to see people playing games, and even if they're not necessarily Dungeons & Dragons, they're all for people playing games, and they're just great. I have anything bad to say with Wizards of the Coast, except I wish I had more of their stuff because they need to send it to me for free.
Yeah.
No, they're great, and because of them, we all do better, and because of them, we can have enough people. We put out a lot of 1099s, and because of Wizards of the Coast, without them, nobody has those.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about a good healthy market, because it allows small producers. And back in the D20 day, I can't remember what it was. You'd have to ask Bill. I think it was 147 companies were making D20 material. It was crazy because the market was exploding. Everyone was enjoying, this kind of renaissance. Then it dipped and it went away, and we're seeing that again. I'm seeing on TikTok, I've watched in the last maybe 3 weeks these young people in their young 20s starting their own game companies. And I think it's great because the market is healthy enough right now that you can actually do it, and you might actually make a little cash at it. So it's very cool.
Will you not mention TikTok again, please?
Yeah,
no more TikTok mentioning.
I've never been more proud of Bill Webb than I am right now because he won't say TikTok and you will. So.
But you talk where trends are going. It's crazy.
Stop making sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm on TikTok and I'm talking to Pax actually right down there about
who
getting
let
a
him
stronger
in?
TikTok presence.
Unfortunately, I let these 2 guys in. So
they're allowed. Actually, one of my favorite.
There's this one lady I follow. She's got 300,000 followers, and she's a DM. That's what she does. And I'm like, what?
How many you have?
Not that many. I got like a
0.
Something. I don't know what it is.
Pex, how would you fix this?
No more.
So it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's not I Instagram and Twitter, that was it. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't go to TikTok. I can't. No matter.
Come on, Jay.
No.
Yeah, you have to go with the times here. Yep.
Yeah, really. Being a partner at Twitch is so last week, man.
Yeah.
I did that last week. So now what's the next goal here?
What are you doing for us lately?
Yes.
Yep.
So we added both these gentlemen because they both support Frog God and Troll Lord respectively very well, and love them for it. And we're a lot behind these monstrous lists I have that we're gonna have to start on eventually sometime. We'll be here until tomorrow morning. So on a ton of giveaways. But so Alyssa, any last things you'd like to ask the panel?
Well, I want to ask one thing, and that's a little bit about the future. Meaning now we have VTTs and stuff. Do you see? Are there any type of format or product involving maps and stuff or general that you see will come in the future that you would love to do or you think you would do? Meaning now we've had books since early day forever, and then PDFs, and now VTTs. Do you have any other cool stuff you want to go into that you can see in the future? Any new product type or venture or somehow, so to speak?
VR.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't tell you enough how much that's going to be a big deal, and I'm hoping that we have the resources as a small publisher to work with it, because after playing an actual tabletop game in VR and doing it, when it was exactly like playing.
I have a
house.
VR here too.
Yep. I know you did. No, but like I play with a I don't know if any old school people. Eric Tenkar, I make him play racquetball with me on VR, but then I move. I lose my. I think I lost my camera.
Yeah, see, you plugged in the VR headset. Now you're
I did.
lost in virtual reality here.
Hold on.
You just had the COVID experience.
Works. I'm back. I'm back. Hit the wrong button. No, seriously, I play
That's awesome.
racquetball with Eric Tenkar, then I sit down and play D&D with him, basically with a game called Demio. This is where it's going, because we're going to be able to do this in virtual spaces, and with AR and VR, it all works with Unity. So that's where its future's going, I think.
Those things make me sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally get sick.
Not when you sit at a table. You'll be amazed.
Oh,
Anytime seated experiences are totally different.
Okay.
Yep.
I got to tell you, and to kind of build on it, I'm right there with Zach with that. That's because it's interesting. I watched this one young lady talk about, she's been gaming for about a year, and she said, I just learned that a lot of people play this at a table. And I was like, what?
Yeah, why?
So it's a wholly different, direction that they're approaching the hobby from. And Zach's right. VR brings that together, doesn't it? You're still at home in front of your computer, but you're actually at a table as well. So it kind of brings that whole. I think that's very exciting to see. And the key to what Zach said is that hopefully that the software and the abilities for small publishers to actually get into that side of things is there. It probably will be. There's so much open source software, all kinds of stuff out there, but it's
we
still
rely on
one
our
of them.
cartographers to make sure that our stuff is Unity ready.
That's right.
Unity ready.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That's the next.
I'm gonna get beat.
Yeah, I mean, Anna's
Don't wanna get beat.
maps are big enough at like 100 gigs. You know what I mean? So it'll be
Well,
like
hard drives
terabytes.
get bigger and bigger.
Oh
so
my
hard drives
gosh.
get bigger
Yeah,
and bigger.
really.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They build warehouses of cloud
Haven't you ever heard of
storage.
personal cloud, man? What's your problem?
All mine are filled, and they want me to spend more money to make them bigger. Every single
Yeah, that's
one.
right. Money.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, Alyssa, I thought you had did you have a last question?
Yeah, I actually have a couple of things. One, I want to know why Chuck is not engaged with this channel right now. He's having a side conversation on his freaking phone.
Wait, you ready?
I'm hoping that Stephen will take it to one side later and have a small conversation with him. Not professional, my friend. Oh no.
Alyssa, Chuck's a train wreck.
No, the troll lord demands that I work.
He's a train.
Alex, if you think I'm not nice to you now, take it back.
And then, honestly, seriously, I just want to thank Stephen and Zach for turning up and being part of this. Because at the end of the day, they both are incredibly busy guys. You are both wonderful human beings. You've got great product, incredible companies. There's not that many companies that I actually want to work with. Both of you humble me just by being here. And, I love you both, and thank you for just being here and spending your time with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us.
Say nice stuff about me.
But
But no, you're welcome. It's a pleasure, because I owe, especially Alyssa, a great deal. I admire a lot of Anna's stuff, but Alyssa has saved my ass many times and done a better job than I could ever ask her to do. So, and she hasn't killed Pex yet, so I'm grateful for all those things.
I'm working on it.
I know you are. Let me know when you're going to do it so I can solve the problem. Okay?
That's awesome.
I'm going to do it at GaryCon 2022. Friday
Pex, you're going.
So conventions to avoid in 2022. No,
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. No, I'm serious. Thank you.
We're all going to be there, it sounds like. All of us here.
Yeah.
no, not all of us. No.
Oh.
One guy is smart.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to have an episode of this show at GaryCon.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go, Fancy Mapping Show.
there you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely.
In person.
Yep,
Yeah.
in person. So,
Let's give the goodies away.
you want to do
man.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we'll do that. How about we do a quickie 15 to 30-second shout out for everyone, what's going on, and then we'll do that, because we don't want to do that. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to start with Anna.
Okay,
15
I'm
to
going to
30.
be very, very quick. So yeah, I've been very busy working for another publisher, wrapping stuff up actually for two, both the Kobo Press and Griffin Lore Games, to wrap up things be end of the year. So there are things that have been lagging around, but there is a new version of the Greyhawk map coming out with Hepmona Land added that will come out between Christmas and New Year's. There will be a first very preliminary version to look at for people can tell me all the things that are wrong and stuff. And then it will be coming out in January for everybody. It will be my patrons have already seen the first drafts and stuff on it, so it's starting to take shape, and I think it will be cool. It's a 50% edition of it. There is more heraldry coming, and I'm also working on the next year preview, so to speak. So there will be a post coming between Christmas and New Year's while I'm aiming for it. Well, I will talk about a bit what I'm up to next year, so to speak, and some ideas and stuff for the future.
You'll see Anna hopefully on Sunday night during Gavin. All right, on my Gavin, we do talk about elementalists and custom spellcasters. Sunday night,
Nice.
7:00. Yep. So, Alyssa, what's up?
I've got such a whirlwind, awesome 3 months ahead of me. So I'm working on the Cthulhu Gaslight map right now, and I'm looking at adding something like 1,000 labels to London alleyways and streets. So that's going to be a glorious one that I'm working on. I'm also working on something for Inkwell Ideas. We had Joe on the show recently. Yes. He's got a geomorph project that he is launching in January in Kickstarter. He has humbled me by being invited to participate with 27 geomorphic tiles. I just submitted some. I'm going to actually share a sneak preview with my patrons here shortly, so check me out on Patreon. And then, of course, GaryCon 2022 map. It's horror inspired. I got to do the virtual one that didn't actually happen because of COVID. I'm going to get to do their next year map as well. I'm super excited. It's going to be horror-based. Think Call of Cthulhu.
Nice.
That's all I'm going to say.
We're all going to have so much fun there. I can't wait. I'm
going to get drunk, get in a fight.
Oh,
I love this woman.
Nice.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Zach, Tidbit, what's going on, Frog God?
Oh, too much. We are currently the Humble Bundle that you mentioned that has the features of Alyssa's maps. That's one of the things that we've worked with. Some of our maps are in there as well. We also are working on we are the Tome of Wondrous Items, a Magic Items book. Kickstarter is doing very well on Kickstarter right now for Necromancer Games, which is our sister company. And that's up right now. And we have a Christmas sale. I think if you sleuth around, Pex can find out where the coupon code is to get 50% off the stuff that we have in our store. And we continue to keep working to make as many games as possible so we can keep doing this living so Pex can eat. Yeah, Ben, people like him. Oh, seriously, that's why we work that many hours and make that many books, not because we're greedy, because we have people who work that we really do want to see.
It's awesome.
Be able to do the work they do and we're proud of them. So.
And Pex doesn't need to eat. I mean,
he needs to pay rent. How about that? Pex, what you
rent.
pick.
Okay,
rent or food. You
rent,
pick.
I'll give you food.
We'll pay enough for one or the other. All right.
Brutal. That is awesome.
That's why I work for 2 companies.
There you go. Yep.
Oh, you clever
we have
bastard. That's
2.
why I can't get rid of you.
Yep.
Steven, Troller Games, what's going on?
All right. Well, we just released our 8th printing of the Player's Handbook. I got a copy of it here if y'all can see that.
So do I.
We've got there you go. It's got the tribute covers on it. The Castle Keeper's Guide just came out, 3rd printing. This has got Elisa's maps in it.
Yep.
Absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, we did the tribute cover. And if you look, these are all tribute covers to the early AD&D material.
Fantastic.
They're great too. They're all wonderful.
Steven, those tribute covers are like chef's kiss, man.
No, they're
Yes.
They are
I wish I thought of them. That's much I hate you for that.
And guess what?
Jason Walton did a beautiful job.
Steven's giving away 5 of those tonight.
Yes,
Wow,
we are.
5 of those
Handbook
books
guides are
tonight.
being given away. So,
Yeah.
and then so we've just released those. You can catch those over on our site. You can go to www.troller.com, wherever that is, and you can find all of that mess. And then coming up next year, we're going to dive into the planes. We're going to expand Castles and Crusades into the planes, do some more mythology books. We've got the Chinese mythology, Korean mythology on deck, and then we're going to do planescapes, skills and orders, a lot of stuff to take your players off the world and into the worlds of fantasy. So we got a lot of fantasy maps coming up that won't follow geography like me and Anna prefer it to. I prefer it to be normal, but got a lot of weird coming.
Steven, thank you. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming on. This has been such a great discussion. Pex, anything you'd like to say? Thank you for hopping on here, man. Thanks for your support.
I would like to say one thing.
Please.
This month, over at Alyssa's Patreon, you can get a free canvas map with your Patreon subscription. We only do this once a quarter, and this month in particular, it's Christmas themed. So,
Awesome.
want a free Alyssa map in print that's gorgeous and archival quality? Sign up.
Perfect.
Nothing
Thank
else,
you,
huh, Pex?
Pex.
It's
Nothing
all
else
linked.
there, huh, Pex?
Patreon and Humble's linked in there. Just
And there's this thing on Humble Bundle for Frog God Games too.
Yep, it's
Thank you.
all right there. Thank you there, Balfron, for
I'm
linking
going
that.
so freaking red. Jesus.
and least but not last, or maybe I got that backwards, Chuck.
You take abuse, Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck.
Oh man,
Chuck, come on, man. Represent
know-
your company. Come on.
it's the abuse is normal. I get it from my wife. I get it from my dogs. I get it from
Not me.
Not you. Not you. That's right. I have a few people in my life. What's going on, man? I tell you, shit. Just a lot. I mean, we are. We just redid our Patreon. Actually, it's pretty interesting what we redid with it. So now we have, and I'll put a link in chat for the Discord. But we have weekly chats now for private supporters of our Patreon. Different levels. The different levels of the Patreon get you percentages off of products. It gets you inside know, and then basically you get to go in there and hang out and listen to Davis and Steve babble all day. It's really exciting. It's good stuff. So,
Exciting.
Yeah. Hey, it's
I think
pretty
today
cool.
I was complaining about updates. I was
Yeah,
complaining about something. I don't know what.
It's something like that, and he's always posting random pictures of like broken equipment and that kind of stuff. It's really exciting.
Whoops. I did that. Hold on. See? Jay, I got so many screens open. I'm like, boom, boom. We're good. When you try to, everything minimizes, boom. So we're all still here. I'm just trying to get set up to show what the giveaways are. So,
But anyway,
And
we've got a
Chuck's
lot
talking
going on there right
anyway.
now. We're So right now, coming up for me and what I do, I'm kind of like Pex. We're out here just kind of slaving away for our lords. But
I'm going to switch
right.
screens and make it easier.
we're working on.
Okay.
We're getting ready to come out. We hopefully will debut at Gary Con with it, but we're going to have a brand new organized play program. I've been working very hard on.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited
Endless
about it.
Worlds.
Endless Worlds. It's going to be a lot different from anything else out there. I've put a lot of time into it, but I think it's going to be fun because the whole concept is going to be just to bring people together to play games, which is what it should be anyway, right?
Absolutely.
That's probably been my biggest project besides, I don't know, just all the regular stuff we have to do every day, like social media and Twitch and just all this junk that we
Yeah,
have to do.
Chuck's not singing his own praises enough. He's actually heading up all of the VTT stuff that we're doing. Foundry,
Well.
Shard, Fantasy Grounds, Roll
Yeah.
20. He's got all of that. He's working with the mappers on that. And of course, the organized play is his primary focus. And
Yeah.
for me to yell at him about 4 times a day, why isn't Twitter followers this? Or why isn't Instagram that? Or
Yeah.
I don't
Pretty
really
much.
understand any of it. So
Actually, Stephen, when you yell at him, can you send me what you say so I can yell at him?
Me too. No, hey, I want
Really?
the same thing. Can you just go ahead and
God.
BCC me?
Yeah, just
Zach's going to be texting
copy
the
his
insults.
post.
Steve said this.
I think it's mostly
No,
nonsense.
you aren't the target for
Chuck
this.
will say, it doesn't work like that, Steve. What do you mean it doesn't work like
Yeah,
that?
no,
Yeah.
I get that all the time for Pex. Those are loser talk. That's loser talk, Pex.
Anyway,
True.
mainly what me and Pex do is deal with these clowns. But yeah.
Yeah, we
You
do.
go.
And it's hard, isn't it, Chuck?
Oh yeah, I have to drink constantly. It's crazy.
I'm a freaking angel. What are you talking about?
Oh, not you, sweetheart.
Oh, we were talking about you.
Clown.
Just Zach down there.
Clown.
She said freaky
Not the
too.
A's. A's is
I
the
have a long
number
memory,
one
Pex.
first.
Well, I want to say thank you to all of you, and
Yep.
this is only going to help the community, and that's a great thing. And we're all here to support each other, and I'm excited for 2022. So,
So are we. Thanks a lot,
You're
man.
good,
Thanks
no
for having me
problem.
on.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
I
thanks
got
for having
30
Oh, hold
Yes.
on.
30 giveaways.
Get to
Yeah, go
it.
ahead.
Yep.
Yes, I got a reverb too from someone. It's
I don't
I'm sure
own
it's
speakers anymore, so
It's yeah.
okay.
It's
What was that?
Steve,
Chuck?
for sure. It's Steve.
I'm
There
good.
you go. It's all right. So chop. Chuck, were you gonna say something? All right.
Nope. Other than you're great.
I know. Well, thank you. You're very, very kind, Chuck. Toma Horrors. This is pretty cool. All 3 decks the monster cards. I love this. And
Very nice.
so I'm going to do this and the 5 Castle Keeper guides first because everyone's like, they want the guides. So we're going to do all them. I'm going to burn through 6 people in order, and then tell me what you want out of that. I got 1 of these, and I got 5 Castle Keeper guide, and then we'll go from there because I got to figure out some way of doing this because I can't reset up the drawing. So you're only going to win once out there. I figured we'll do that first. All right, fair enough, and then we'll go down. We got I literally got 14 and 16. It's gonna take a bit here. So, and you know me, I'm gonna hit a wrong button, and then then we're gonna be
And you have to start it
we're gonna have
over
a real
again.
freaking disaster on our hands here, like
Yeah,
I
he
always
hits the
do.
wrong button, and now he's not a partner anymore.
Yes. Yeah. You never know. Are you ready? Closing it out. All right, here we go. First winner, Big Mac.
Oh,
right.
David.
All right, so
Congrats.
you gotta tell me if you Castle Keeper guide or if you want the monster card. Second winner, Tino Monkey Boogers. Yes, that is them boogers.
Boogers!
Yes.
You're in.
All right, so if you want the monster card, you gotta let me know, please, or if not, I'm putting you in Castle Keepers. Next winner. Oh man, now it froze on me. What the heck? Oh, don't do this.
Oh,
It's me every day.
Pin back. There it goes. Pin back. So all right. So I got Mac. Big Mac. I know Big
Is
Mac.
he writing with a pen? Is that what he's doing?
Pencil.
Yes. Believe it or
Yeah,
not.
high tech.
yeah, it's high tech. Yeah.
Oh, that's the only way I'm gonna be able to
Edge.
do this.
You
That's the only way I'm gonna be able to do
TikTokers.
this.
I was
Look
just
at
going to
this.
say, now we know why
Pin
Jay
back.
is not on TikTok. So yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
to juggle harder.
Next winner.
Yeah,
Jim Segia.
awesome.
Jim. You were just saying you would like that. I saw you with that. Jim, you good? You want that too? Next one. Here we go. Keep going. Keep
That's
going.
good,
Keep going.
Sparky.
Keep going.
Yeah, you
Moose. Oh my God, you guys are gonna be shipping a shit load to Canada. Oh my gosh. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Moose.
Canada's
Awesome.
not that bad.
2271. I know Jim Ski is Canada too. All right. So if any of you wanted the monster cards, because I think that's in the same level as the Castle Keeper guides. Anyone? Next winner's gonna get that. All right. This one's for the cards up. Cards. Winner. Megan. Megan's awesome. Megan paints. That is awesome. Megan is really cool. Megan, I got that. Now, I'm going to do next. Oh my gosh, everyone. You guys are killing me. We're going to do $25 gift certificates. All right? We're going to do $25 gift certificates. I got a lot of books for we'll do the books after that for Frog God. So I got 2 25s for Frog God, 4 from Troll Lord. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna go the first 2. I'm gonna do Frog God, and the next 4 I'm gonna do Troll Lord. Okay.
And thank you, publishers, for this.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
And
Yeah.
No, you're gonna do
Frog
4
God.
for
You
Frog
guys
God,
have
too. I
been
want
so
this.
generous.
4. All right. So there we go.
I
Now
can
we're up to
get you 2
32.
more.
All right. So there we go. You're gonna get
I'm
me
not
2
on
more.
station. I'll do better than that.
Give
Bill,
him
I
Zach.
can get you 3 more. if you're
Oh my
fine.
gosh. So now we're up to 32 giveaways.
Yeah.
32. Here we go. Oh my gosh. I said this is all Alyssa's fault. This was her idea 2
Yep.
months ago. She's like, you know what we're gonna do? I'm
She
gonna
wanted
get
a good Christmas.
yeah, so
She did say that.
yeah, she
Put them
did.
both against each other like a gladiatorial contest.
The
Oh
ever
my
mysterious Tim gets one from all right, so
Oh wow.
Tim,
Mysterious.
ever mysterious Tim. Put up a bunch of Tim heads. His head is an emote. So yes. Next one, long shot. That's there you go. We're getting some of our regulars now. Long shot. You got 25 to Frog God. Next one, Frog God. Rich Longitalis. Man, that's like 3 nights. He won freaking Wednesday and Thursday night too. He's won 3 nights
for
in a
him.
row. That is
you
awesome.
great fans. That's awesome.
That is
That's how
awesome.
you become partner. That's great.
Yep. Next win.
Learn from this guy.
Next winner, Scalagrimer. There you go. So those are the Frog God gift certificates. I know everyone there, so I can put them in Discord to all of you. That's not a problem with those codes. Now we go to the Troller Games gift certificates. Here we go. Phantom has a power outage. All right. Well, thank you for telling me that. Nagul. Okay, a regular there for Frog God. Good. Very good. Next winner. Feed Me 22508.
Feedback.
That's the
Oh.
best handle I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Grats, Feed Me. Next gift certificate. Enoch Pratt, Tim.
Oh,
Good
Yes.
job, Enoch.
A good one. And Enoch won the Wayne Reynolds signed Dungeon Magazine cover
mhm.
too
Nice.
on Wednesday.
Damn. Nice.
Mike Disney with a gift certificate.
All right, Mike.
There you go.
Hey, there you go.
All right,
Mhm.
we're through the gift certificates. Now I got books. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're getting there. Holy shit. Oh no, I got digitals still. Let me get through the digitals, then we'll go to the hard.
I think we're only up to 10 items, 20 more to go, Jay.
Yes,
Right.
Warden. We got the Starship Warden digital. Okay, Starship Warden digital.
Nice. Nice.
Cathay. All right, no Cathay. That's another big one for us. Another big follower. Congrats, Cathay. Starship Warden digital. Another Starship Warden digital. Damn weirdo. There you go, damn weirdo.
All right.
Yeah.
Damn weirdo.
650 pages.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a big boy right there.
Yes.
Thing
Damn
is
weirdo.
monstrous.
You got that. So, Player's Handbook digital. So that is digital copy of this, right? Digital copy of this, right, Chuck?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Two of those. Get through all the digitals here, and then we got hard copies after that. That winner, Vic Danger 21, another known name. Good.
Yes, Cannibal, it is in print.
Absolutely.
I guess I can answer that in there.
That's all right. Yeah, all having fun. This is all about enjoying the holidays and Jose Ortiz with the winner of that.
Yay.
Jose, Player's Handbook digital. All right, so I got three left for Troll Lord. We'll save them to the final three, and those are those two maps. All right, but now we're going to go over because these are a lot of hard copies. I'm going to need your name and address if I don't have it. Okay, so whisper me, Discord me. I'm going to write down who gets them. So and hopefully I can pop these right up. All right, Sanchez. Did I say Sanchez? Lament.
Shanachie.
Oh my gosh, I can't say that.
No, it's okay because the author is a leprechaun, and Ian McGarty wrote it, and he told me that's how you say it. So
Awesome.
everybody here who knows him knows what I mean. But he's a giant evil leprechaun.
Oh,
but
my
he
God,
wrote
that's
this
awesome.
Shanachie.
He looks like the guy on the cover, too.
He does
Right?
look like a cover intentionally.
This is a hard copy that is going to be. These will all. Everything now I'm going to give out is a hard copy from Troller, from Frog God. I apologize. From Frog God, coming to you direct.
I
All
think
right,
compared to worse.
here's the winner. M5 tie-in. We know M5. Congrats, M5 tie-in. All righty. Next winner is for this one, which I'm 1975.
There's two of those. That's my boss, Bill
yeah.
Webb. That's his big contribution, which is actually really great. It's a great introduction. Those
It's
are in
a
the Swords
good-
and Wizardry
that's a
OSR
great
format.
Okay,
That's
fantastic.
one of my favorite ones, Zach. That's great.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's
It's
my
great.
Bill?
It's a wonderful book.
Yeah.
Two of those.
Bill's
So
stuff is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
here comes the winner. Robo Dan, 2001.
Oh.
Congrats, Robo Dan. 2K1. Next winner for this again. Justinius 1. Justinius 1. Congrats, Justinius 1. Hey, probably one. Let's see. We'll probably have of the viewers now. I mean, we're getting. This is going to be 25% almost here. This one is Death. I got him here. Death Ship of the Roach Princess. Next,
That's one of our newer ones by Matt Finch. It's a weird interplanar fun one. And it's in 5e.
Awesome. Very cool.
It has bugs.
Has bugs.
I should have it, Justinius. You're correct. Lord Forth, another good regular and supporter of the stream. Congrats, Lord Forth, for getting that. Very cool. Next one, I think is, this is cool. This is Orcus on 34th level. Kind of a play on
Nice,
Christmas.
nice.
2 copies of this.
Yeah, because this is our newest one. We just got the proofs for here. So that's last year's Christmas module, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Here we go. Next winner.
Oh, and everybody who gets we can get them a PDF of everybody who actually is a winner as well. Peg will
Okay.
take care of that.
All right, that's awesome. Gitano, Grendelwolf's Lair. There you go. Gitano wins that.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Nice.
Next winner for this, Alex Antiquitous 2004, who helped me out at tremendously helped me out at PAX Unplugged last weekend.
Yep. Wonderful.
All right. I have the next one that
Wow.
we're giving away. But what did I do with it? 3 copies of Alyssa Faden's map that she did here, and that is Cat's Cradle. Yes,
Ooh.
I have that.
Oh, nice.
And to be clear, it's not just like a book that you open and it's got my map in it.
Well,
It's
it does.
actually a
I
really
opened it
cool
right to the
setting
map.
in-
See, I opened it right to the map. So
There's a whole city setting.
that's
in
why I
there.
got it, because
Someone
I
wrote
love city
something in the-
settings. I love city settings. That's why I got it. Like, for
So
example,
someone actually wrote in a book as well.
like
There's
this,
text
like
in
this
there.
one I have. This city setting I have for Castles and Crusades, Callus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Just a small note on
I love
Cat's
that.
Cradle. It is system neutral, so no matter what system, you
great.
could
It'll
use it.
play any
Oh,
fantasy
nice.
There you
system.
go.
Or
Very
top
cool.
secret if you want to.
And better, I didn't write it. Okay, I did not write it.
So that was awesome. Alex just said, "This is way better than Oprah." Yes, this is great.
Yeah, it is.
So
I'll make you pay tax on the
You
cars.
get a
yeah.
module,
Yeah.
and you get a module.
we have 8
We
still
all
to
get a
go.
module. Yeah.
Yep.
Three of these Cat's Cradles. Here we go. Next winner, Meerkat, who I just saw in chat. Wow, look at that timing. Meerkat, I don't think I have. You're one of the ones I don't think I have your address. So you're gonna have to whisper me full name and address, please, so I can get
We
that.
have no Teslas to give away. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately not. Skagit, no Teslas.
Second winner of this Cat's Cradle. That's good. It's wonderful. Oh, now come on. It's like thinking. Dwayne Prometheus. Canada, here we come. There's a
Yeah,
Canadian.
Canada.
Grats there, Prometheus. Yeah, it's a nice book. You'll like it. It's I
It's a
really
wonderful
like
book.
mine. Odysseus BB on the third one on the Cat's Cradle. Odysseus BB. Grats, Odysseus. Next one is the final 2 from Frog God, and that is Fiend. I had these in order here. Is this it? The Fiend of Turlin's Well.
Yeah, a guy named Skeeter Green, who if you have
Yeah.
never met him, don't try. He's a terrible human being, but he's also a great author and a nice person. That he's
Poor
been with
Skeeter.
I know,
I
right?
wrote this for Frog God. He actually was a partner
Oh,
for a while.
dear.
He had left, but afterwards he wrote this for us, and it's just a great adventure inside of Bard's Gate. So
Oh, okay. It's in Bard's Gate. That's awesome. The
but he's still a
winner.
terrible human being.
2 giveaways of this. Winner, Crazy Cyber. Congrats, Crazy. All right, next winner,
Skeeter equals life.
Balfrin. There you go,
Oh,
Balfrin.
awesome.
You got a win there. Thank you, Frog God, for wonderful. So we each company had 16 giveaways. We got 3 more to do for. I don't want to crash the stream having too much open there, because yes, I'm playing with fire here. The final. Oh my gosh, did I get those maps? I thought I got the maps. CNC. I thought
Are
here,
these the tubes?
yeah, the tubes. Here it is. Aired map. These are signed by Steven, right? These will be signed
Yeah,
copies.
these will be-
That's a trick. Look at that.
Those two that map split in
Thank you,
half,
Jim.
and then the world map. It's 3 maps in the tube.
Okay.
I could cheat and sign Bill's name, but damn,
you
way
go.
to go, Steven.
I mean, no one will know the difference. Just do it.
This is giveaway number 20. I'm sorry, 29, 31. No, I can't even add 30, 31, 32. So here we go. Final 3. Winner for this. Gary Julian, Pluffett Smedger himself.
Oh,
Wow.
Gary. Awesome.
Wow. Gary with a win.
Nice, Gary.
Zach, if you know Gary wrote the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer in 2000. That Gary Julian.
Oh, he's a hero I didn't know I had. Awesome.
Yes, yeah,
There you go.
absolutely. So, and he runs the Cannon Fire Discord that we all hang out in. All right,
And
great.
just so everyone knows, the 2 little inset maps are actually the same size as the world map. They're all huge, 32
Yeah.
by something. Yeah,
Okay.
Cardman 2467.
You're lucky I
37
had one
by
of those Teagle
29.
maps left. They're 12 feet by 12 feet, or I would have showed you.
Okay,
They're all gone, though.
Biggest map.
the last and final, and after this, we're gonna say goodbye. We're gonna raid into Phoenixi Waki, he's in Japan. He's an American station there, but he also or a Brit. I apologize, but he's doing a Kentucky Relief Fund
Right.
thing. So we're going to go into
cool.
into that. Okay.
Good.
So please stay on, say hello at least. And if you can give, please do. Because he asked me to be on the show at the exact same time this show was going on. And I was like, I can't, but I promised to raid into you. Final winner, Rob Phantom. Gotcha.
Oh, Robert, good
Oh,
job.
nice.
Well done.
Robert Phantom, New Jersey. Congrats. Third, so it's going to take me a while to get you, all of you, this information, but I promise I will be working on that with all the other things I got going on in my life. We will get them out to everyone. Thank you so very much. What a great show tonight, Zach and Stephen. Thank you for participating. And
thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for having us on. Very
This was
much
great.
appreciated.
Please,
Yeah.
if you see something you're interested in with both companies, please order it. Check it out. Great content all around, and we're looking forward to working with you and running stuff. And we got other companies, we got other live streamers that are doing things now. We're trying to branch out. If you haven't checked it out too, we have the Grail Creative Stream Team. The Troll Lord has joined, so we have them in the stream team with a lot of our other streamers and crafters that now, as a partner, is able to create. And like I said, if you have some kind of content and you want to participate in this stream team, that's we'd love to have you. So, Alyssa, Anna, what a great show! What do you think?
Oh, awesome.
Best one to date,
Thank
right?
you.
Yes.
Thank
loved
you.
it.
Yeah, thank you so much. This now we have to build something even better next year. So
Apparently, we need to have Stephen and Zach on every time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Well,
is
Anna and
really
Alicia, it was
want
an
that, but thank you.
absolute pleasure. I'm glad you guys had us on. This has been
Thank
a
you very much.
blast.
This was great, and it's really weird to be in a place where you can talk about the really obscure stuff that you know about, and people
Thank you.
don't hang up on you.
Yeah. So we need to dig into other stuff in the future. So
It's
yeah.
dot gain. No, it's color profile. Yay!
So, Tino, I had Steven Chanel played in a game with Luke Gygax. So I told Luke Gygax he couldn't do Mel Cessadaro. It was out of range. Okay, he was in that game when I told
Yep.
Luke no. So yes. But yeah, I could have Zach on in the game in the future. That'd be great. And Chuck is
Yep.
always in games, all the time when he
Yep.
shows up, or when he's got his other things going on,
I get my chains off
Right.
of me. Yeah.
And Chuck's in the BattleTech games group we have now too. When we do BattleTech once in a blue moon, so we got.
Battletech. That's
Yeah.
just too
What,
awesome.
you didn't invite me?
Oh, Alyssa!
Man.
Alyssa,
I
you
tried,
want to on the
Alyssa.
next
There you
one?
go.
I
What
tried.
the
Alyssa.
hell?
Okay,
I tried.
There
okay.
you go.
Yeah.
You should be in on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
Alyssa, I
I was
absolutely.
in the show where we started talking about it.
Well,
You've
Oh,
been
that is so
snubbed,
good.
Alyssa.
we first game we
Wow.
had our sons in. Tim and I did, and it was last second for the most part. But of course I'll have you on. That'd be awesome.
You know what? I feel the misogynistic going on here. I feel it.
Alyssa, you want to be on our stream? You can be on our stream, Alyssa.
Partner.
Yeah.
We'll let you on our.
I didn't get invited to the Mech Warrior show.
Now
He's
I feel
upset.
bad.
He's
See,
upset,
Chuck.
Jay.
See, Chuck. What happens when you don't show up?
I tried to tell you to get over it. I tried to tell you.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
So, Balfrin and Balfrin and Canadian Ancient Gamer and all them have been pressuring me to get it one, and they're great. The community. I was like, I'm going to do it, so I did it, and we'll have another one. I promise. We'll have multiple ones. It was the first time. We'll get. Listen, you're in. Absolutely. I'd love to have you play in one of my streams.
I would love
Yeah.
to show you my ineptitude at the game.
All right, great.
You're in. Aptitude.
You're
I can
in.
Show her what's up.
You're in. We'll set up. We'll make a character, and we'll do all that stuff. Absolutely, you're in.
Oh, I'm
It's-
looking forward to see this.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fantastic. So there you go, Canadian. You got Patrick's kind of the de facto leader of the group, his character.
Cool.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
it'll be a blast. So all right, let's read into Phoenixy, Waki, and Pex and Chuck. Thank you for all your support.
Listen, thank you and congratulations to all the winners. We're just glad that you guys
Yes.
come to show us, listen to us babble. It's great.
Just give me a little time to get through the lists, and I will get them all compiled up with addresses and all. Get them to use, and we'll get that all out. And
Thank you.
we will have some.
I'm glad the winners won, and I'm glad to be on the.
It
stream.
is
Thank
such
you
a
very much.
wonderful
Yeah,
feeling tonight, and this is by far our largest, most popular fantasy mapping show. Thank you, we appreciate the support. But if you can afford to, Phoenix Iwaki, please give them a little support as well, because everything's going to a good cause. And now I'm going to hit a wrong freaking button. I know. Maybe not. Oh, I hit the right button this time. All right, so let me see. Stream's ending. All right, let's raid into them. Give me a second here to set this up. It'll take 10 seconds. Raid!
Yep.
I'm so old, I barely know what that means.
Tell him, Rome.
See you tomorrow night,
Do it,
6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. The Slav Squad is back for a D&D game. The dead never rest easy. So yeah, I'm gonna be. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun one with them. Thank you. Hitting in 92. What an awesome number. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you all tomorrow night. Thank you. Wow, that was awesome. Let me hit the raid up here.
everyone.
Excellent.
Let me get this over. Make sure it just went in, but we should be good.
Yeah, it went over.
All right, good.
Yep.
That doubles the numbers. Very, very cool.
92 great. Good job.
Yeah.